So hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto had God Kai. The movie. If you guys enjoy this, what if? Comment down below. And let me know before I start. Please do support for more awesome content. And leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And also share this video with your friends. And check out the description. And check out my playlist. So let's start the video. Chapter 1. Goku sighed as he looked down on Earth one last time with a sad smile on his face. No longer did he wear his orange training guy, he now wore black boots, dark blue pants with an Indian sash around the waist, covered by a sleeveless dark blue top, and had dark blue wristbands that were weighted, and the evident feature was his twitching brown tail. He remembered clearly all of the enemies he had fought, but none had been this destructive and powerful, not even his old rival Vegeta. He clearly remembered them all. King Piccolo, Garlic Jr., Raditz, Nappa, Vegeta, the Ginyu Force, Ginyu, Frieza, Cooler, Androids 19 and 20, Cell, Majin Buu, the Chitakak, Broly, General Rilo, Baby, Super 17, the Dark Dragons, Omega Shenron, and finally Lord Bills. He clenched his eyes as he had witnessed his own wife Kai Kai erased into nothingness in an instant by the monster known as being more ruthless than Frieza, and he did it while gloating about it, before he instantly transformed into his Super Saiyan 6 form and beat his entire army to death using his bare hands, sending him retreating with his tail between his legs. It took him months along with his friends to get him out of his depression before clearing the planet of Bill's men and influence and realized his power wasn't enough to stop him, so he sought out Shenron for guidance and was told of the form called Super Saiyan God and knew he had all the requirements for it. He took in all of his hate, pain, rage, sorrow, despair, and anguish before releasing it all at once and transformed into a true god and trained in the new form to extend the short time limit he could fight in the form before confronting Bills with Vegeta gaining the same power as him and fought a battle that shook the entire universe in the end. Goku and Vegeta won by firing a combined Kamehameha and final shine attack, unknowingly obliterating Bills' entire body and soul, never to be seen forever in the living and afterlife. Their new super forms gave them the power to destroy the souls of those they kill, preventing them from being revived by any means, allowing the others to rest easy as Goku and Vegeta obliterated the past villains they had fought, allowing eternal peace for the universe, and if an evil alien threatened it, they would leave it to the Z warriors. Goku couldn't stay anymore, he was tired mentally from so many battles against Bills and his army, and decided to find someone else to pass on his legacy and walked through a portal that had a Japanese kanji for leaf and found himself inside a forest. Goku looked around sensing for any energy signatures and raised an eyebrow, sensing over 1,000 of them, but one made him frown. It had a feeling of malice, but it felt like it was sealed into someone and it was being attacked by several other weaker ones and was flaring wildly as if it was a cornered animal ready to strike, making Goku frown darkly before flying toward the energy's location. He suddenly saw a sight that made him see red, a young blonde boy no older than 5 years old being attacked by a mob of grown men and looked to be injured but could see the burning hatred as he punched and kicked their faces with inhuman-like strength that didn't belong on a normal 5-year-old and saw one of Shinobi attempting to stab him with a katana and teleported in front of him, catching the strike with his fingertip, causing the whole mob to stop including the tired blonde who looked at Goku curiously. "I suggest you leave this child alone or I will kill you." Goku spoke coldly, he had learned to bring his killing instinct out when he saw Kai Kai die and was going to bring it out once more. "That boy is nothing but a demon in human skin." The man yelled insanely, getting a snort from the blonde who gained his breath and spoke in a cold, disgusted tone as he shook in hatred and sadness. "You call me a demon?" he whispered furiously, making Goku sigh as he read Naruto's mind and scowled, finally feeling Naruto's actions justified and stopped as he looked at Naruto. That unbreakable spirit and mental fortitude to never give up and the ruthlessness, even someone like him doesn't have it, seems I have found my successor. He thought, smiling. "You call me a demon when you all act like ones, even demons have more honor than you filthy maggots. I should fucking kill you and that damn silver-haired asshole for trying to shove that hand of lightning in my chest." He snarled hatefully, making Goku frown deeply and saw the scars on his body and it made him feel sick. This village is going to deserve whatever's coming to them. He growled inwardly and right before their eyes did his eyes turn jade green and his hair spiked up to a bright blonde, but his demeanor changed and it was not happy. "Kill the demon lover." The mob and Shinobi charged at him, weapons raised with insane looks in their eyes, making him shake his head at their stupidity and created a Kai ball in his hand and fired it widespread, obliterating the whole mob in one movement, never seeing Naruto's eyes dilate into metallic purple with 6 rings around the pupil with a spinning pinwheel connected by 3 bars until he turned around and gasped. "It's my eyes, isn't it?" Naruto asked bluntly, getting a quiet nod as he heard of those eyes from the gods that ruled this dimension and was shocked at the power they held, but saw this one was different as he had seen that symbol before when the death god spoke to him. It seems you have the heritage of the father of all ninjutsu, along with the Senju and Uchiha. He said slowly, making Naruto smirk. Yes, I know it was quite easy figuring it out, and who are you if I may ask? Naruto crossed his arms as eyes turned blood red with the symbol still spinning wildly, making Goku raise an eyebrow. You look like you already have it mastered. Naruto shook his head. I have mastered the first, second, third, and fourth stages. I will need another couple of years to achieve mastery with the fifth stage, even when using 1,000 shadow clones. He shrugged. Okay, by the way my name is Goku. Naruto's eyes raised in surprise and saw the tail and nodded as it was a fitting name. May I ask why you saved me, Goku Oji-san? Goku chuckled at Naruto's curiosity and sighed sadly, explaining to Naruto about his life and hardships he went through. By the end Naruto gave him a sympathetic look, seeing both have suffered in some ways, but raised a shocked eyebrow in disbelief. You want me to be your successor, but how clearly someone else is fit for it. Naruto tried not to blush in embarrassment at being chosen, while Goku just laughed in amusement. It's because Naruto, I made a lot of mistakes because I didn't have it in me to kill until I fought bills, so I want you to be my successor instead. You have that ruthlessness and killer instinct I don't have and knows what needs to be done. I will be inside the seal where I will change your Na, so you will be a full-blooded Saiyan god. Naruto nodded and saw Goku vanish into blue particles and flow into the seal, causing it to light up before dying down. Sensei, you there? Yes, Naruto, and I have to say your mind is amazing. I thought it would have been a sower. Naruto shuddered at that. Also there's a sleeping fox in here and I can feel he isn't going to be friendly whatsoever and it would be best if you destroy him completely. Goku said grimly with Naruto's eyes that were once ice blue were now a violet purple with a slit pupil glowing with power, ruthlessness, and cold. He replied in a cold tone. I will deal with that fox when the time comes. He thinks his hatred is stronger than mine. Oh, how wrong he will be on that account. He whispered as a red tail sprouted from his tailbone. His body suddenly got leaner, toned, taller, and more tough and stronger, and his spiky hair turned longer and crimson red. His chakra went through the roof, yet felt his control boost surprisingly, and felt himself float. Getting a grin, he blasted into the sky and toward the forest of death, doing wild loops and killer air movements. Just as he saw the Hokage and his arrive getting a scowl, he charged a massive orb of pale green Kai and was about to blast them apart only to stop. He remembered to not let his anger control him and brought it under his control, only to blink, seeing his hair was now pale green with black streaks, making his jaw drop at this. I'm a legendary and a Saiyan god. He whispered in disbelief while Goku, who saw this, felt like laughing. His greatest foe had a descendant in Naruto. Oh, he'll enjoy training him. Naruto makes more clones and gets them to take everything you need to develop as a ninja, even your heritage. Naruto nodded and created 1,000 more and noticed, since the whole village was asleep, making him grin, and ordered them to do it fast, getting nods before they disappeared in blurs, using their newly acquired hyperspeed, taking every shinobi-related scroll, techniques, jutsus, the jutsu styles, weapons, and law books. Naruto, I want you to do this physical regimen. Since your body is actually more advanced than mine, you'll be able to do this much longer. Naruto felt the information downloaded and nodded before dropping down, doing his 100 sets of 2,500 push-ups with determination and vigor. No one messes with Naruto. Uzumaki Namikaze. 1 hour later, Naruto took a small breath as he looked over all the scrolls from his clones' late-night activities, and when they got back he commanded all of them to start training in chakra control and Kai control. He wanted this mastered before he entered the academy. He could also slowly feel Goku transferring his knowledge and experience each passing day and concluded it would take 5 years to master everything and started doing his Kai shaping exercises after he put up barriers that wouldn't alert the village to his training. Soichi makes sure to eat vegetables and meat to have a healthy diet. Goku reminded his surrogate son, who nodded as he finished shaping an itachi and let it dissipate before jumping from tree to tree, using his inhuman stealth and agility, roaming through the forest and spotted a lion chasing a deer and leapt down on its back, and before it could retaliate, he twisted slightly, snapping its neck, saving the gazelle, who nodded at him before running off. Naruto dragged it back to his campsite and skinned it before cleaning out all the guts and put it on the pit roast before continuing his training in the hermit style, which was like a perfect balance of offense and defense and was impressing Goku further by mastering each kata and fixing his mistakes on the fly, and stopped on one of the katas as a memory transferred to him. I have an affinity for every element, Shintaju Ukage Bunshin. Multiple poofs appeared in the clearing. This was a Naruto created that would create clones that could regenerate their own chakra and transfer whatever they learned to him when they wanted. Groups 1 to 4 spar using the Taijutsu styles in the green scroll, Groups 5 to 7 elemental manipulation on every element, Group 8 to 10 Genjutsu and Kinjutsu, Groups 11 to 13 shape manipulation and Sharingan training, Groups 12 to 14 master the remaining Rinnegan techniques, Group 15 go into Kamui and master Tengai Shinsei, Group 16 Fuin Jutsu, I will be trying to train my first form now start. He barked at them, getting nods as they went to work while he sat down and entered his mindscape where he saw Goku nodding at him. Since you unlocked your super state, I will show you how to control and master it. For the first stage, you must remember all of the rage and anger when you were always attacked. Naruto closed his eyes, remembering all of the painful memories. The beatings, glares, insults, berating, torture made his hatred spike. He stood up slowly, his hair shadowing his eyes, and his hair suddenly spiked up and changed to a bright pale green with black streaks, and an aura of green Kai surrounded him with red lightning arcing off his body. Naruto felt overwhelming hatred and rage, but snapped out of it and got his power under control and opened his eyes, showing his royal purple eyes glowing with beastly power. Amazing, you did better than I did when I transformed. Goku grinned and changed into his first form and got into a stance, making Naruto grin excitedly and got into the hermit stance like Goku. Both stared at each other and blurred, causing a sonic boom. Soon craters and shockwaves erupted all over the mindscape, with Kyuubi being none the wiser. The Crimson Saiyan God is awakened. Time skip 11 months later. 11 months had passed since Naruto had trained under Goku, 11 months since he had changed from the weak boy he was and started fighting back. For 4 months he trained in Taijutsu, chakra control, and ninjutsu, and found out as a Saiyan, his control became better and could now do Bunshins easily. But his affinity for Genjutsu was unimaginable. He made Genjutsu that could control all of the human senses, making them see what he wants. He had lots of fun making the villagers and certain shinobi see their worst fears as retribution. 7 months later he had mastered the katas for the hermit, Gokin, Jaikin, Kempo, Taekwondo, Judo, Aikido and many others. Before sparring with Goku, getting experience in using them well in Kamui, he trained for years, mastering them even further. Now it was just 1 month from his birthday and was ordered by Goku to relax, so here he was enjoying a walk around the village. He now wore black jeans, black combat boots, fingerless gloves with a metal plate, a red sleeveless muscle shirt with a black high collar cloak that hid his lower face and a black straw hat that hid his eyes, leaving only his face visible. On his wrists and arms were storage seals for his weapons he had mastered with ease, and the other shuriken, kunai, his father's that he had mastered since it had a simple concept, go with the pole, while he had other specialized explosive tags, medical tags, chakra suppression, locking, and disruption tags along with other weapons he forged after discreetly learning from one of Higurashi family heads. He also had black arm bracers under his cloak that reached all the way up to his elbows, made with seals to absorb ambient chakra, block sword strikes and absorb if placed correctly, and had a small pole that was colored red at his hip, a demon spear called the Gay-Bolg, which was a spear passed down through his mother's family, that saddened him and wondered where his mother could be. He suddenly sensed shinobi were following him and saw they were all jounin. They were clearly not being stealthy, if they were not making themselves fake a conversation, making him shake his head in disappointment and continued walking till he reached the park. He suddenly pictured him, his mother and father playing in the park like a real family. His eyes hardened. I know Goku Sifu. He muttered as the tail agitated in irritation, as if sensing the stench of weakness, as he wondered what the hell they wanted. May I ask what Jonin of Konoha would want with someone who was relaxing? Naruto glanced at them, seeing a beard man, a spandex-wearing Jonin, a woman with pineapple-shaped hair, a red-eyed woman, a pink-haired woman, and a silver-haired man with his headband covering one eye. His eyes narrowed seeing the one who tried to kill, but grinned. What he didn't realize is that Naruto coped with his technique and improved it to fit his standards. Anko spoke up. We're gonna have to ask you to remove your hat. She smiled sadistically only to get a raised eyebrow. May I ask why I should listen to you when I have done nothing wrong, Mitarashi-san? He said coldly, making them tense while Anko frowned and threw a kunai at his hat, only for it to vanish and appear in his hand and suddenly became metal strips as he crushed it completely, making them gawk. Did he just crush that kunai without even trying? Kurenai asked in shock. Naruto sighed as he saw the doubt in their eyes and decided it's no use hiding himself any longer and removed his, throwing it behind him, and unbuttoned the top of his cloak a bit, showing his face, making them gasp, while Anko, Mabuki, and Kurenai blushed brightly at his aristocratic features as he stood 2 inches below their height thanks to his Saiyan heritage, making him grow faster. We meet again, Falcon, Kame, Hibi, Yasagi, Saru, and Inu. He said the last one with a bit of venom. So you're the one we had to protect, mommy likes what she sees. Anko leered at him, getting an amused chuckle that made her legs tingle at how soft it sounded. Yes, but am I now, Hibi-chan? He spoke from behind them, making them jump in surprise. We didn't even see him. They thought in shock, as he was faster than Guy and he was the fastest in the village. Hey, Moji-chan here. Guy suddenly caught a scroll that had the kanji for green beast on it, making his eyes widen in shock. Why, you mastered it. His voice reached a high pitch, getting a smile from Naruto, who nodded and hugged his surrogate uncle, who was crying tears of happiness and pride. Yes, the Goken was a bit difficult, but I managed to master it. I'm even immune to the gate's effects. Their jaws dropped. That if he was immune to the 8 gates effects, he could be more powerful than anyone alive. Ibuki suddenly rubbed his whisker marks, making him purr, causing her to squeal and hug him like a new plushie, with Kurenai and the other girls doing the same before letting him go with blushes. So Naruto, where have you been training exactly? Nabuki asked, only to get her answer by his finger pointing to the forest of death, causing their jaws to drop to sea level, including Anko's at his location of training and the fact he managed to survive in there. Suddenly a squad appeared behind Naruto, who put his back on. What do you want, Nico-san? He questioned in monotone while moving his hand toward his spear. Okage-sama has requested your audience along with the council, Uzumaki-san. Tora ordered, only for Naruto's kai to flare, giving him a menacing appearance and his eyes turning cold. I am trying to enjoy this month before my birthday, and the Dumbus Council and these assholes want to ruin my day already. He sneered, making one of them angry, and went to grab Naruto, only for a red spear to rest on his neck, the tip close to severing his jugular. One more step and I will take your head, rookie. Naruto spoke coldly, not being scared of the Jounin and Anbu watching them. Naruto suddenly stiffened and turned to see one of the people who loved him like a grandson looking at him tearfully. Saruoji-sama. He whispered, trembling in sunshine in front of the old man, and hugged him tightly as he was patted on the back. Oji-san, why didn't you come look for me? I had to force myself to become this strong. He said sadly, with the Sandaime feeling older than he looked. The council kept having me distracted like they are now. Naruto suddenly scowled and glared, seeing the whole council walk into view, but most flinched at the cold hard look Naruto was giving him, and their eyes widened as his eyes flashed into the Sharingan, making it all more scary and terrifying. What do you maggots want? Even Danzo flinched at his hateful tone but regained his composure. These idiots are thinking they own you. Fugaku scowled at the idiotic civilians, while Naruto just laughed menacingly as his hair flashed pale green with white streaks, showing his mastered Super Saiyan 1 state, shocking them. He suddenly picked one of them up by the throat, shocking them at his strength, except those who saw him crush that kunai with his bare hands. You dare think just because I'm the container means I'm a fucking guard dog for you bastards? He hissed coldly and clutched his throat tighter, getting a strangled gasp from the fat slob in his clutches. I should have hired Iwa to kill you, damn demon. He gasped out with Naruto's eyes swirling, then suddenly turned into his ancestors, eyes getting startled gasps as everyone saw, and soon spotted the visage of the legendary Uchiha standing behind Naruto, a hand on his shoulder with a proud smile before vanishing. Naruto dropped him on his ass. You aren't worth my even wasting my eyes on. He spoke in Madara's tone before walking away. The civilian roared in rage and charged at Naruto's back, a dagger raised at his back, only for Naruto to shift back and launch a palm strike to the man's chest, causing him to collapse with blank eyes. His heart exploded in his chest. Hiashi informed, getting gasps before turning an impressed look to Naruto, who nodded in confirmation at his guess. Seems Minato's-san can use my clan style with ease. I congratulate you, young Naruto, you make your family proud. Hiashi and Fugaku bowed with smiles on their faces. No problem, Uncle Hiashi, Uncle Fugaku. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to get ready for my next training session. He stopped when Kakashi blocked his way. You are under arrest for murder. Naruto does not think you can beat me. Naruto only smirked, and suddenly Kakashi fell to the ground screaming in pain and horror as Naruto just disappeared down the street. You are nothing but a disgrace to Papa's teachings. Those words echoed in Kakashi's minds as he took the brunt of Naruto's hatred for Konoha and its inhabitants. 2 years later. 2 years had passed. Many things occurred as Naruto trained in the Forest of Death. First was that the Uchihas were wiped out, leaving only Mikoto, Sasuke, Tsubaki, Yin, Yang, Bara and Hinata, along with some of Naruto's other Uchiha aunts and uncles and nieces and cousins. Sasuke had sworn revenge on Asami, who killed the corrupt Uchiha, but Fugaku was killed by a masked assailant that unknowingly heard of him. The civilians tried to have the girls turned into breeding stock, but Naruto, who got his clan head status earlier than expected, brought them under the protection of the Namikaze and Uzumaki clans, meaning those greedy people like the civilians along with and couldn't touch them, and that earned a special place for Naruto in their hearts. Naruto had met with the clan head's children and immediately disliked Kiba, Sasuke, Ino, and Sakura for many reasons. One is that they tried bullying him because he always did better than them in academics. 2, they wanted to be number 1. 3, it was a matter of pride, since they felt that Naruto doesn't deserve anything and is a clanless orphan, only for Naruto to put them down coldly. He became good friends with Shina, Yume her sister, Kimeko the older sister, Choji, Shika, and her sister Shima, Hanabi, Niji and her cousin Hinata, Mabuyuki, Saya, Toki, one of the remaining Senju children who had a crush on him like Shima, Niji, Hinata, Mabuyuki, Saya, Shina, Yume, and Kimeko and other girls, and took a liking to him because he may be cold, but he treats his friends with kindness and love. One day on his birthday, Naruto was approached by Himeha Hinata's aunt, who liked him closely requested for him to guard Hinata and Hanabi with Niji, while Kumo was in Konoha for the peace treaty which he accepted, and it allowed him to get close to the three girls whose hearts he captured and removed her caged bird seal, after getting Hiashi and several other main branch members to agree. But, Kumo's head Jonin along with some squads, decided to go underneath his nose and kidnap Hinata and Hanabi, to breed back in Kumo for their own Hyugas, but, hell hath no fury like a protective boyfriend, as Naruto had become their boyfriends, after they confessed to him months before the incident, and he accepted. Flashback Hyuga Garden, Naruto-kun. Hinata and Hanabi burst through the doors running towards him scared making him frown as he stood up wearing what Madara wore when he fought Mew and Inoki back then, and even had his orange-colored gumbai on his back, along with skin-tight gloves that had several reinforcement seals that made them tougher than steel. "What is it?" he asked as his hair had grown to where it looked like his grandfather's with streaks of black in the front and more spiky, as he had been meditating manipulating the nature chakra in the air to achieve his own sage mode. "Hey Kumo Jonin and Anbu are chasing after us but, they." Hanabi's lips trembled in fear, making his eyes narrow dangerously, coming to one conclusion. "They want the Byakugan Hanat on his watch. Girls, I'm going to hide you with one of my concealing genjutsu. Do not panic," he said softly getting nods before Naruto whispered. View obscuring. They instantly vanished from view and moved behind the tree. Naruto made sure only he could break that illusion and waited for the Anbu and Jonin to arrive while tapping the seal on his ear. "Nico is the Raikijin Hokage informed." He talked through the earpiece. "Yes Naruto-kun they're on the way right now closing in fast." Nico spoke through the communication seal, getting a nod. "Carry on." He turned it off just as his guests arrived and tensed when they saw him. "May I ask what you are doing in my uncle's house uninvited?" Naruto's voice turned cold and emotionless as a feeling of death washed over them, making them see a very terrifying man in front of them, while others were too stupid to feel it. "Hey Gaki. Where are those two Hyuga girls at?" One of them demanded arrogantly only for Naruto to crack his knuckles slowly, making the wince and shudder as Naruto's chakra seemed to grow in intensity, evidenced by the shroud around him. "If you have come just to kidnap them, then I'm afraid I cannot let you live." He snapped his fingers causing the surroundings to light up startling them. "Now, you have nowhere to run, prepare to die." He instantly ran through hand seals at rapid speed, shocking them at the above cage level speeds as he gathered Kaiten chakra into his body. Kaiten. Goku Misitsu. Naruto fired a blast of black and blue outlined fire from his mouth, launching it at the group only to have managed to shunshin out of the way, while the ones that were hit burned into ashes, stunning those watching the battle as a 6-year-old boy demolished half a squad in one move. Naruto smirked. "Come now, surely you weaklings aren't that afraid of me are you?" He did Madara's mocking sneer making their faces turn red with anger and rage, and flipped through hand signs. "Tsuruiden no Jutsu." 5 Chorsued as lightning gathered in the sky and formed into red-eyed dragons that barreled toward Naruto who only smirked as he faded away like pixels as the jutsus hit, causing an explosion lifting dust everywhere. Itachi gloated at how he killed the stinking pest along with the others, only for their heads to suddenly fall off to the ground, only 2 crumbled into rock, showing they were Doten Bunshins, making him smirk at the quick thinking, not like it will do them much good. Naruto ducked under a roundhouse and jumped over Slash and rocketed his heel up and slammed it on the man's neck, with Crunch signaling his neck was broken, enraging the lone who charged at Naruto in a crazed sense of rage, swiping rapidly at him, while he just dodged in a lazy fashion with a smirk before slapping the kunai out of his hands and hit a pressure point on his neck, causing paralysis to his whole body. "I will let your leader deal with you." He smirked seeing the man pale and sweat just as the Hokage, clan heads and Raikage, along with Anibi and Hachibi looked shocked, seeing the craters and decapitated bodies, and saw Naruto drag one of his bolt members paralyzed. "Raikage-sama is one of the conspirators with your council to try and kidnap the Hyuga heiresses to breed their own Hyugas." Naruto scowled darkly at the whimpering who soiled himself at the killing intent directed at him by Naruto, while he looked furious, especially Yujito and Queen Bee, yes, a female killer bee, their fingers growing claws. "Naruto-kun what do you suggest?" Queen Bee asked rubbing her head sheepishly, getting looks from the Sandai Mindi. "Amato how do you know Naruto-san?" Bee and Yujito explained how they were injured by men in black cloaks with clouds on them, and Naruto healed them when he was training outside the village. What surprised them was his chakra control for Iryujutsu and blushed when they had fun together, while Naruto had a slight pink tinge, remembering the cuddling they had in kissing. Well, since you healed them I can allow them to be a liaison between Kumagakure and Konohagakure, if it's alright with you Sarutobi. He nodded with a smile at his surrogate grandson finding love and then smirked mischievously, making Naruto wary. Oh, Naruto, I forgot to tell you Mogi-chan, Yudo-chan, and Tsurumi Musum are calling you. He snickered at Naruto's blush increasing only to yelp as Naruto smacked him upside the head with an irritated look and a blush, while B and Yujito squealed hugging E who snorted and turned away keeping up his tough image. Naruto smiled as he had gained a friend in the tough raikage, and for the better it was like when his father met E for the first time in battle. Flashback end. After that he was a public ally and close friend of the Hyuga, Inuyasha, Akamichi, Aburame, Kurama and other clans in Konoha nevermind, their kids not liking him, and some even helped him train and spar, which Goku commented was a good way to further their friendship and had trained him in unlocking his super forms, which made Naruto frown at the decreased speed but managed to get around that drawback by placing resistance, weight, and gravity seals on his body to overcome the form's limitations, and mastered his Super Saiyan 2 form which he unlocked by taking his rage to even more heights and made sure to study his father's notes on the Shiki Fusion to figure out how to absorb Kyuubi's power into him so these Akatsuki can't get him. He also noted Sasuke kept trying to follow him to spy on his training, which he made sure his fangirls got to him, not that he didn't have any of his own, and he welcomed it but didn't do anything more other than taking them out for lunch or dinner or cinema. He dispelled his clones that were training using a perfect Susanoo and could tell he had it down to Madara's level and was happy he got to sign a summoning contract for the dragons. He was now 7 years old and was practicing his stances with Gaybold, moving through each kata with masterful ease, showing his aptitude in Bukijutsu while noticing his other friend who had a crush on him was his two sparring partners Lia and Tenten. Yes, why I do this it's because it had never been attempted and cut Lee some slack and was surprised to see them. Hello Lia-chan, Tenten-chan what brings you here? He asked as he wiped the sweat off his muscled body and smiled faintly seeing their blushes and glazed over eyes. Oh no, we came to just visit you in Naruto-senpai. Lia stuttered cutely, getting a smile at her shyness from the normally loud girl. Okay, I was just doing my daily jujutsu practice and it seems Sai-chan, Shisui-chan, and Shin-chan have decided to join us. He called out loud as three girls appeared pouting, especially Sai who had her arms crossed over her generous bust and hugged Naruto's muscled body. Moo. How can you always find us Naruto-sama? She whined, getting a chuckle while he just kissed her on the nose softly. I'm just that good. He said smugly, making her pout childishly. Naruto laughed with the others but stiffened when he felt a familiar trickle of in the forest and it felt weak but it was similar to his and this chakra made his emotionless facade crack as tears dropped down his face. Kasan. He whispered and dashed toward the location as the girls tried to keep up with him as he flew at inhuman speeds and landed in the forest's west gate and looked around quickly as he walked through glaring at any animals that dared to attack him. He stopped when he stepped on something metallic and felt for a latch and pulled it open and when he did his nose was filled with a disgusting stench of blood, medicine, and decay and floated down and saw it was some lair of the sort and walked down the corridor only to hear the screams of his mother, making his Saiyan instincts flare and dash down the room looking like an afterimage as he sprinted like a runner. 2 minutes later, Naruto skidded to a stop as he saw something that made him see red. His mother strapped to the table being stabbed at by several men wearing purple outfits with a headband with a sound symbol and saw a gray-haired man smirking at her, arrogantly making his eyes flare into his Sharingan and the Mangekyo. Get the fuck away from my mother now. He snarled, making everyone freeze, especially Kushina who felt the familiar chakra and it made her heart jump with joy. Soichi-kun. She whispered to herself as Naruto walked into view and the image was burned into her mind seeing the Sharingan in his eyes made him look even more handsome with sharp features and saw her spear Gaybold clenched in his hands. One of them sneered holding a kunai to Kushina's throat. And what will you do if we don't? Naruto turned his head slowly to the one that was arrogant enough to ignore his warning and his eyes made everyone in the room tremble with fear while Kushina trembled with what could be described as excitement and anticipation. Mugen Tsukiyomi. The man dropped to the ground screaming his head off his tortured scream scaring everyone while Naruto smirked darkly. Now you shall be repeatedly stabbed for all eternity inside your mind. They played when they heard what he meant for eternity. That is Mugen Tsukiyomi, a technique my grandfather made by accident. It puts the victim in an eternal genjutsu where he or she is tortured for all eternity locked in their mind with no way to break free. He chuckled maniacally much to the sound ninja's growing fear and horror before Naruto unsheathed his katana a bit before sheathing it and suddenly multiple flashes of light appeared around the other two, causing them to fall to pieces. Kushina looked absolutely shocked at his speed and his kenjutsu skill and wondered how he got so good. Ka-chan, let me take care of this. She looked shocked but nodded while melting at his soft Sharingan eyes before they turned to the gray-haired man. So you're the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, don't look too bad. Orochimaru-sama isn't here to dissect your body and take what he wants the most, the Sharingan. One of them cackled while Naruto snorted. Your bastard of a master is unworthy of possessing my grandfather's because he will die just like the rest of you filthy weaklings. If there is nothing more that I hate is a weak and cowardly ninja. Naruto said coldly as his hair turned pale green, the black streaks only showing little, but the energy made them sweat. Naruto sensed someone sneaking behind with a kunai and backhanded the person into the wall with a crunch to his neck, shocking them at his taijutsu strength. No one has ever snuck up on me and never will. He spat before his eyes glowed as a dark blue ribcage suddenly appeared around Naruto, who mentally commanded his Susanoo to grab his mother from the table and bring her inside the armor. As Soichi-kun. Naruto nodded with a small smile. You're safe in my Susanoo, Ka-chan. I have many things to tell you, but first let me take care of these maggots. He turned his cold eyes to them and sped through 4 seals, gathering Kaiten chakra in his lungs. Let's see you outrun this. Kaiten Amaterasu style. Enten Goku Misitsu. He expelled a jet stream of pure black fire towards the lab, burning everything, causing an explosion, shaking the entire cave, making Naruto grunt in irritation before scooping his Kasen up in his arms, getting a blush from her at how Naruto is holding her, and allowed him to hold her and snuggled into his chest. He looks so grown up now, there's no way I can be a mother to him now. She thought sadly, not seeing Naruto's saddened gaze. Ah-chan, you can still be in my life, don't let yourself down like that. Kushina started to sob as they ran toward the exit. Soichi-kun, I haven't even been there for you in years. How could you forgive me so easily? She cried out in confusion and anguish. She blushed more when his soft understanding gaze looked into her violet eyes and stroked her hair. Because, Ka-chan, I love you even when I only had your pictures for comfort. I still loved you, and I won't stop now. He declared before stomping the ground, causing an earth wall to raise up, blocking the crumbling ceiling, and jumped through the entrance and sped out of the forest, and an explosion knocked them to the ground, with Kushina ending up on top straddling him. Kushina suddenly moaned with a blush as she felt Naruto's cock rubbing against her womanhood, and it felt so good she started moving her hips back and forth, making him moan as well, and felt his Saiyan instincts yell at him to mate with her, but managed to fight it and tapped her with his tails. Ah-chan, let's not do this now. I just got you back and I want to get to know you better. Kushina nodded with a bit of disappointment and hugged him tightly and started crying, while he let out a few of his own tears, feeling the void in his heart close. Ka-chan, just don't leave me anymore. He whispered desperately, getting a nod from her. I promise, Soichi-kun. She cried out, clutching him, but tensed when suddenly Kakashi charged at them with the clan heads, telling him to stop. His hands lit up with his Chidori, making Naruto roar in fury as he activated his own Chidori, except with black lightning, and charged, meeting a shocked Kakashi head on, ignoring everyone's yells. Chidori, black Chidori. Both shouted as their jutsus connected, creating a clash of lightning against black lightning as they pushed against each other, arcs of lightning sparking everywhere. Ah, you demon. Kakashi sneered, pushing forward only to see Naruto's eyes darken with rage and pumped more chakra into his. Fuck you, damn bastard. You dare try to kill Rin-chan because father taught her the Rasengan before you. You fucking power-hungry bastard. He roared as their chakra increased, creating a huger energy clash, while Kushina, who heard that, seethed in hatred and felt herself drawing on the Kyuubi's chakra, healing her injuries over the past years and her misused muscles, and surprisingly created a Rasengan in her hand and charged toward Kakashi. Team. Rasengan. Kakashi cried out in pain as he was simultaneously hit in the gut by both jutsu and was sent flying through a few trees, while the lightning from Naruto's Chidori electrocuted him and was inwardly shocked at him, knowing what he tried to do to run, and fell unconscious as Naruto approached him, ready to him from the legs, only to stop raining in his anger and walked back to Kushina, who was trembling till he kissed her on the lips, making her moan. SHH, Kushina Kachan, let's go home. He whispered and picked her up bridal style, getting a sleepy nod before Naruto was surrounded by his Kai and flew to the Uzumaki Namika's estate and walked in before putting Kushina in his bed and made sure she was comfortable and kissed her on the forehead. I'll be back, Kachan, please wait for me. He whispered, getting a smile from the asleep Kushina before he stood up and dressed into his black high-collar cloak, blue pants and sandals, and his strap to his shoulders and his black sash that carried his swords, and exited the house, snapping his fingers, putting the seals up so no one will get near this house without his permission, and opened the door to see a mob of shinobi and civilians yelling for his blood and for him to hand over Kushina to them, making him very pissed. His Susanoo activated instantly and glared down at them coldly. Get the hell out of my sight or die by my hands. He roared as his Susanoo slashed apart the mob, causing some to retreat, while he engaged the stain ones into jutsu, kinjutsu and ninjutsu, showing why he was the grandson of the Uchiha and Senju brothers, as he tore them apart with ease, till he was literally caked in blood, his Sharingan making him look very demonic. Naruto looked at their cowering forms with disdain. Get out of my sight and never let me see you again. he said harshly, making them run for their lives as he walked toward the council room, where he is sure the ones responsible for helping Orochimaru hold his Kushina-chan like a damn lab rat. He walked up to the door and punched it off the hinges, allowing it to become embedded into the wall above the elders, while everyone looked at him and shivered at the cold, emotionless look in his eyes that spoke of pain and suffering for anyone who crossed him but gasped seeing his eyes, and one idiotic civilian stood up. "What are you doing with the Sharingan Den Herc?" He was cut off from his rant by Naruto separating his head from his shoulders, using his bare hand and crushing the head like a soft apple, making the puke in their masks. "Wow, Naruto-kun sure is being brutal today." Mikoto licked her lips in lust with Tsume, and Yuka felt horny seeing such a display. Naruto turned toward Kaheru, Hamura, and the civilians except Mibuki. "Mibuki-chan, would you please move out of the way please?" he asked calmly, getting a confused nod and moved beside Mikoto. Naruto spoke up in a cold tone of fury. "I want to know right fucking now why the fuck was my mother Kushina Uzumaki being experimented on by Orochimaru's damn men underneath Konoha? Answer me goddammit, or I swear on grandfather Hashirama's grave I will raise this damn village to the fucking ground." He literally blasted everyone with cage equivalent KI, making a lot of them choke on their breath as they could not believe he had this much murderous intent, and it made Madara's anger look like a childish temper tantrum. We wanted Konoha TT to be strong." Hamura squeaked with the civilian shouting in agreement, making his eyes twitch. "Did these disgusting pigs think they could use my mother as a damn fucktoy? Is that what you were planning on doing after Orochimaru was done with her?" he said coldly as his Susanoo came back alive in its demonic form, making them tremble. "Why yeah, so what, she's nothing but a bitch only worth spreading her legs," one of them said defiantly, making everyone stop to a screeching halt and glared at that little fuck for saying that till Naruto started laughing, and it made their bones chill to the core as it sounded crazed and mad. "So that's your answer, huh?" He chuckled darkly before his eyes turned to the Rinnegan and used his gravity element to pull the man towards him in his hands. "I will make sure you die painfully. Let's see how you like having your soul pulled from you slowly." He used his human path and slowly pulled out a blue transparent mist, making the man scream in agony and untold pain, making everyone pale seeing the cold smirk on Naruto's face as he relished in the man's screams before he pulled it out, completely letting him drop to the ground, empty eyes. Naruto called the King of Hell and tossed it into the statue and let it eat before vanishing to nothing before turning toward a cowering civilian council along with Hamura and Kaheru. "For you scum, I will kill you with one of my grandfather's own water style." Explosive bite of the water dragon. He shouted, gathering the water molecules in the air as a massive water dragon flew at them. Only Hamura and Kaheru dodged using their old shinobi skills and charged at Naruto in their hands, making him laugh out loud at their struggling and dodging each and every one of their attacks, but that same mocking grin on his face. Naruto sidestepped Kaheru's stab and thrusted his hand into her chest and ripped her heart out and burned her alive and grabbed Hamura by the throat and lifted him up, slowly ignoring the insult spewing from his mouth, and threw him into the wall and threw multiple kunai, pinning him to the wall crucified, getting tortured screams from the old man. "Yes, scream for mercy like the dog that you are." He laughed and pulled out Gate Bolt that pulsed with glee at drinking his enemy's blood and looked at a bleeding Hamura with cold unfeeling eyes. "When you get to hell, say hi to the Shinigami." He threw the spear hard, piercing the chest of Hamura, who fell limp, looking like a real crucified victim. The blood and gore made Naruto look like a vengeful angel descended from the heavens and hell, and his posture screamed dangerously and watched him walk out to his home. "Good night, Saruoji-san, get some better advisors so they won't undermine your authority. Goodbye, I'm going to check on my mother," he said as the doors closed, leaving an ominous feeling behind. This marked the first massacre of Konohagakure no Sado and Naruto's new moniker Uchiha Madara no Saisei. Chapter 2. 3 years had passed for Naruto Uzumaki Senju Namikaze Uchiha and Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, and they were for the better, never mind how hectic and crazy. After Naruto's massacre of almost the whole civilian council and the two elders Hamura and Kaheru, putting the fear of Kami into the minds of those who thought he would take their shit again, many mobs were reduced thanks to some unforeseen circumstances. Wink, wink, but Kushina had a good idea who did it. The Sandame, who found out about Orochimaru's hidden base in the Forest of Death, immediately increased the training of the village's shinobi and bettered the requirements for the academy, making the academy students pair in teams doing D ranks and low C ranks to make sure the genin won't be weak and will learn their elemental affinities. They also gave Naruto the Namikaze clan head seat and Kushina the Uzumaki. Combined with that, the new and still corrupt civilian council could not budge into shinobi affairs and thus making Naruto and his family's life easier since he was starting to be more bloodthirsty when angered, which is rare since he was mostly emotionless except around his girls and Kushina and other friends. Naruto mastered more of his sensei Goku's techniques along with mastering his other Super Saiyan forms and had been putting off dealing with Kyuubi long enough and decided to put him out of commission permanently. Mindscape, are you ready for Naruto? Goku asked, looking at his surrogate son. Naruto grew to 5'6", a height not known to be evident in normal humans, but accounted for his Saiyan heritage thanks to Goku changing it to a mix of Saiyan God and legendary Saiyan type, making him a god in heritage. He now wears black Hakama pants, black tobi and white zori with a black sash, a red long sleeve undershirt with a sleeveless black guy top with a high collar over it, picture Naruto's own style of the Arankara Espada attire, and had his spear Gae Bolg in its tubular form tied to his sash, and his O-Katana and Wakizashi sheathed on his left hip, and had his crimson haircut to where he looked like a red-headed Minato, and his eyes were shadowed almost completely, though his body had a solid 16-pack which was inhuman in itself, but had the body of a runner. Naruto stared at the gate holding Kyuubi who had finally woke up and was glaring at Naruto, completely like he had done him a wrongdoing, and it was making him very annoyed and walked forward to the gate, showing no fear of the full Ki of the Biju King, who looked flabbergasted he wasn't cowering like most mortals, and Naruto smirked in a dark deadly way. Do you really think I am still human, Kyuubi? Naruto said in a cold, emotionless way that froze the mighty Biju seeing the dangerous look in its container's eyes, and it widened with shock and anger as he floated toward the seal. Naruto stared deep into the blood-red eyes of Kyuubi the nine-tailed fox, with no fear at all, and spoke in a chilling, dark tone that made its hackles rise. You think you are the most powerful entity in this entire universe, huh furball? Naruto sneered maliciously, making Kyuubi sneer back. You are still like those pathetic arrogant people who know not how to bow to their superiors, like they should have done since the beginning of the Rakuto's age. Kyuubi spat only to get a fanged smirk from Naruto who looked very amused. Oh really, let's see how you handle the mix of a Saiyan god and a legendary Super Saiyan, along with the blood of an Uzumaki, Namikaze, Senju, and Uchiha. Naruto ripped the seal off while Kyuubi smashed the gate outward, trying to scare Naruto again, only to find to its annoyance, he was still looking unperturbed, and launched one of its tails at him, only for a yellow flash to appear in its vision, and saw Naruto next to the one who sealed him. Beyond aim. Kyuubi roared in fury seeing the yellow-haired bastard who sealed him. We finally met To-san. Naruto smirked at his father who grinned back and raised an eyebrow seeing his son's looks. I see you've surpassed me by a millennium and your chakra looks bigger than the furball by 1,000 times it seems. Minato nodded in pride as he could feel the suppressed chakra rolling off Naruto, only to see Kyuubi completing its signature attack and fired it and was about to teleport him and Goku away only for Naruto's hand to stop him. Let me take care of this. Minato nodded seeing the determination in his son's eyes and moved away. Naruto cocked his leg back and waited for it to get close and launched a spin kick that clashed with his foot before losing the battle, and he literally launched the thing back at Kyuubi who couldn't block it and was engulfed in a large black pillar. Minato's eyes bulged in shock. Holy shit. Kami-sama Naruto, what training were you put through? Minato looked at Goku with wide eyes who was just laughing his ass off. That was barely even a warm-up for Kyuubi-san. Naruto said mockingly making Kyuubi roar blasting the away and showed his wounds healing more slowly and Naruto used that chance to grab both his yin and yang chakra and pull shifting the battle into a chakra tug of war and Kyuubi tried to bunch all of his hatred on Naruto whose eyes blazed crimson red as he heard the voices in his head. You will never win brat. You are weak and will always be weak. It crowded with delight only to hear dark amused laughter and look down in horror and fear to see Naruto smirking at him darkly. You think your hatred will break me Kyuubi? He said his voice getting louder and louder as the mindscape shook as Naruto's body blazed with golden colored chakra. Naruto snapped his head up with ethereal glowing wide eyes radiating with power. My hatred surpasses yours Kyuubi theme. I shall not be broken. He roared and pulled with a mighty yank getting a scream of pain from Kyuubi and absorbed its chakra, leaving its skin and bones, and suddenly Naruto was bathed in a golden glow, wearing the exact same clothing as his ancestor the Rakuto Sennin, even his hair was golden, and grew 2 horns in his hair, and gained blazing orange eyes, along with extended whisker marks. This power is the Kyuubi's chakra. He muttered clenching his fists. Kyuubi stared at Naruto in absolute rage and roared in fury, charging full power. Impressive to still be this powerful, you are a worthy foe. Naruto cupped his hands back as an orb glowed pale green in the center and grew more in size, along with Kyuubi's attack. Shy Northeast Naruto. Kyuubi Koimari. It fired the Biju attack at full power at Naruto who smirked. He threw his hands forward. Super Omega Kamehameha. Both attacks clashed and Kyuubi thought he would prevail only for Naruto's attack to overpower him and speed towards his vulnerable body and engulfed him completely ripping his entire body and soul apart and saw Naruto's eyes staring back at him with unyielding power. Damn. You. Naruto. Were its last thoughts before being erased from existence and soon the blast cleared showing nothing of Kyuubi left and Naruto stared before turning towards his father and walked away while shaking his head. We could have been more than friends, Kurama. He thought in pity before smirking at his father and sensei. Time skip outside Mindscape. Naruto opened his eyes after finally having a talk with his dad, who gave him all of his knowledge on ninja arts, before leaving to go to Kami's realm, leaving him with Goku, who will leave once he turned 15 graduation day, which Naruto accepted with tearful eyes, before leaving the Mindscape to see Kushina rubbing herself against him with a moan. Kakashi, what are you doing? He asked with wide eyes and saw her violet-colored eyes staring back at him in lust. Ayubi team's leftover chakra seems to have fused with mine and has made more horny and have a higher libido, and I'm restraining myself from fucking you on this couch. She groaned with barely restrained lust and yelped when Naruto pinned her down and rubbed his groin against hers, making both moan in pleasure. She saw the restrained lust and love for her in his royal purple eyes that he changed and kissed his tongues rolling with his and felt her red panties wetten under her skirt. Kakashi, I can't hold back any longer. He whispered in her ear as he felt his cock getting stroked through his boxers. Fuck this. Kushina shouted in crazed lust and ripped Naruto's shirt off, showing his delicious 16-pack that made her lust grow dangerously, evidenced by her eyes turning red, and ran her tongue along his pecs, making him shiver before she came to his boxers. Naruto walked to class with a bounce to his step and saw several of the female teachers looking at him in lust, already knowing he had the smell of sex on him, which he didn't mind though, and continued on his way towards class while his eyes turned blank, bored, and cold since this academy is still a fucking joke in his eyes, and made sure not to rise to the taunts of Kiba, Sasuke, Sakura, Ino, and Kiba. He rubs the bridge of his nose, hearing the loud squeals of fangirls inside the room, making him wonder how bad his Kushina's temper will be, and wonders further, how will they handle her new power now, after he trained with her for a week and a half straight, getting her new strength under control. Oh well, I'll worry about that later. Choji-chan wants me to see her parents. He mused before opening up the door only for his hair to be blasted back from the loud noise, making his eye twitch. Shut the fuck up. He roared, causing all of them to freeze up, and Naruto walked in only for a brown-haired girl to jump into his arms, showing the beautiful brown eyes of Choji Akimichi, wearing a pair of blue jeans, sandals, a green shirt and her white scarf with her clan symbol on the front, and her face wasn't chubby or fat, only slim along with the rest of her body, and her G-cup boobs were visible through her shirt. Heyo, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled at her and gave her a kiss on the forehead, painting a very cute image in everyone's mind, seeing his warm charming smile and her blushed cheeks. I was just training with Kushina-chan and she got a little carried away. He trailed off with a blush on his face, remembering their training session which turned to an intense marathon of sex. Choji blushed because she heard their howls of pleasure, and so did the other girl, and had images of him taking them on the teacher's desk, and it made her a bit aroused, and Naruto smelt it and smirked at her while talking as they walked towards the others, only for Naruto's half-cousin to move in his way, getting glares from nearly every girl that admires Naruto along with the guys. What do you want Uchiha-san to do? They winced, realizing Naruto doesn't see Sasuke as his own cousin. This is most common when said person has a very huge dislike for their half-cousin, but is evident mostly in major clans and some minor clans. I want your jutsus and techniques now. Sasuke demanded arrogantly, only to cry out in pain as Naruto's gloved-handed grips his hair tightly and lifts the duckus-haired Sasuke up to eye level, and it clicked in their minds, realizing Naruto used only one hand and wasn't even trying, and saw the cold, emotionless look in his eyes. Get it through your weak skull, you are not getting all my hard-earned skill, get it through your head, weakling. Naruto kisses Sasuke over his shoulder, lightly crashing on the floor in a heap. Also, if you guys try to attack me, you're gonna have to deal with my mother, who is known to put some people in the ICU unit, so please do try a little, foolish cousin, not like you could fight me anyway. Naruto snorted and sat down between Hinata and Hanabi. Yes, Hanabi is in the academy with the other rookies, and put on his headphones for his iPod, which was black with his Uchiha clan symbol on the bottom, front and back. Hey, Naruto-kun, what do you think the academy will be like? Shina asked curiously. Naruto sighs, scratching his head. Probably only bookwork and barely any physical effort. Not like the academy will be any help right now. He says out loud enough for other teachers to hear him, causing many to nod at the truth, while others growled in irritation since they paid their parents on the council to make it easier for them. Seriously, this is supposed to be the strongest village, and all the academy teaches is fucking bookwork. Hanabi shouted, cursing loudly, making everyone stare at a Hyuga cursing like that, while Naruto just had a shit-eating grin on his face. They grow up so fast. He mock sniffs, making the girls rush at Naruto, demanding he teach them by getting chuckles from him. Time skip 15 minutes later. Really? Are you serious? Naruto deadpanned at Iruka, explaining the history of and their achievements, making many slam their heads on the desks in annoyance and irritation. Iruka-sensei. Almost everyone froze at the sweet tone in Shikamaru's voice, making Naruto snicker evilly under his breath at his Kageheim's annoyed face. Why yes sh Shika. Iruka stuttered in fear while she just tapped the desk with a bit of chakra, causing it to crack, making their eyes shrink in fear. When will we be actually training in chakra controller to jutsu? Haruka and Mizuki stumbled to get everyone outside, and that's where most of the kids got their asses beat by Naruto's girls, while some fights just involved nothing but brawling, no skill at all, and when it came to most of the girl fights all they did was pull hair and claw at each other's eyes, trying to impress Sasuke, disgusting Naruto severely. Ami-sama, these girls are disgraces to Kunoichi themselves. Ten-chan would have tried to fill it each and every one of them. He thought in disgust, with Goku grimacing in sympathy. Having to listen to these girls screech like wailing banshees over a duckus-haired boy was nauseating in itself. There's no limit to how obsession can go, Naruto. Goku said sagely, getting a nod from Naruto before hearing his name called. Who will be my opponent, Haruka-sensei? All he got was a pointed finger with a deadpan face, and saw who it was and deadpanned as well. Sakura Haruno looked extremely smug, like she already was guaranteed victory. It's official, Goku-sensei. I feel my pride as a Saiyan wounded. Goku had nothing to say to that because frankly even he would feel insulted getting paired against Sakura, who was below even an academy student in strength and skill. Chakra-wise she has the reserves of a little baby and has barely passable to jutsu. Sensei, if this is going to be my opponent I am severely disappointed. Hinata Haim and Hanabi Haim give me more of a workout. Naruto said in a deadpan voice. Sakura gains a tick mark and screeches. What was that, Naruto baka? You think you're better than me because I'm a girl? She screeches her head off, making his tail twitch in annoyance, while he just speaks coldly. You and your so-called fan club are nothing but disgraces to all Kunoichi in the world. The only one who has potential and worth getting my training is Ami Madarashi. Ami's face gains a pink tinge at her secret idol's words. She admired him ever since she saw him take down those civilians who threatened his mother and took them down with such fire in his eyes and strived to impress him one day and earn his affection. She did not see his kind smile. You've already impressed me, Ami-chan, by training yourself to the ground for the right cause. I'll approach you after today and see if you're ready. He thought. So what? She's nothing but the sibling of the snake whore. Ino sneered, not realizing who she was talking to. Naruto's eyes dilated into the eternal Mangekyo, showing a pinwheel connected by 3 bars glowing eerily with power and malice as his chakra visualized in a purple shroud, showing how dark it felt seen by the temperature decreasing to near sub-zero levels. Call Anko Haim and Ami Haim that name again and you will end up being my punching bag along with this bitch in front of me. He said coldly. Ino and Sakura sneer and step into the ring, dropping into the Leaf Academy to jutsu stance. Bring it dead last and fall so I can impress Sasuke-kun. She sneered, making him smirk, and dropped into the Senju style to jutsu, which had his feet spread apart with one hand closed into a fist, while the other was set forward open palmed using counters, grappling, kicks, and punches. 2 chains and Wiz Khalifa, we own it. Let's see what you've got. He made a come-on motion with his hand, smirking as they charged recklessly and dodged their slow, weak strikes while giving them light punches to the stomachs, which were the equivalent to being hit by a low-powered punch with Doton chakra, meaning they got bruises from even the lightest of hits from him. Kushina stood floating in the air watching the fight with a smirk. Still playing with your food, Soichi-kun? She snorted at her son, toying with the 2 weaklings who she had to resist blasting them to ashes with her Gallic gun. Come on, Yamanaka, Haruno, your mother and aunt can handle more of me when I'm fresh. He laughed in amusement while many women passing by glared at blushing Miyuki and Yu, who had nosebleeds in jealousy, while Kushina just kicked her feet, laughing her ass off. Ino screeched and swiped at him, only for Naruto to grab her and flick his wrist, sending the blonde flying in judo position flat on her ass. Your movements are too telegraphed and not refined, therefore you were already dead into jutsu. He lectured in monotone, sidestepping a sloppy kick from Sakura, who thought she was real clever, only to get sweep kicked off her feet and elbows slammed to her abdomen while in midair, sending her body through racks of pain. He turned to glance at her slightly. Your footsteps were loud enough to where even an academy student would be able to pinpoint your location. Haruno-san, you are a ninja and act like it, not some lovesick girl with a silly crush. He shook his head in disappointment and turned toward Haruka. Call the match, they aren't worth the effort anymore. Ino and Sakura began to see red and screeched, a voice full of fury, and threw their whole set of shuriken and kunai at Naruto in a desperate act to kill him, making Kushina's eyes narrow in fury and was about to attack only for him to vanish in a red flash, shocking her and many others who bore witness to the scene. Duration, Soichi-kun, have you surpassed Minato already or is there more? She wondered in amazement as he appeared behind both of the weak and tired Kunoichi and placed a finger on the back of their spines, making them freeze. I am further disappointed to think you would strike someone after the match was called. It proves to me that you would follow the way of snakes eventually. He said cryptically, confusing others while the more experienced Jounin and others passing by narrowed their eyes at the girls, closely realizing Naruto's words immediately, especially Kushina. Need to track that little pedo bitch down eventually. She reminded herself of that. If you move even the slightest muscle, my fingers will drive a low Chunin's worth of Raiten chakra into your nervous system at the spinal cord, making sure you will be paralyzed for a good few months. His exclamation shook them so much their eyes shrunk in fear. Now do you yield? He asked sternly, getting 2 defeated nods before he nodded and walked away back inside, with a perversely grinning Toki following him. End song, boys' bathroom. Naruto took his coat off, showing him in a muscle shirt, showing off his 16-pack, and washed his face and hair using the sink to get rid of tiredness from yesterday, only to feel someone's arm circle around his waist and look behind him to see Toki looking at him through her bleach blonde chin length, bangs her wine red eyes looking at him lovingly. Toki-heim, what is it? He asked quietly while noticing the door was locked and the out-of-order sign was on the outside. I want you, Naruto-senpai. She moaned as she reached her hands into his baggy pants only for his hand to stop her. Do you really love me like the other Toki-heim? He asked seriously, which she replied by kissing him, her tongue swirling with his. Toki's pussy dripped with Naruto and her juices and it made her moan at the warm feeling in her stomach and kissed Naruto one more time. Senpai, now you've gotten me all dirty and sticky. She pouted, which he smirked at and gripped her bare ass cheeks that jiggled in his hands. Then how about we take this to my shower then? She squealed as they vanished in a red flash. Soon sounds of giggling and moaning could be heard in the village. Minato wiped away her nosebleed with a giggle. No one will speak of this, okay? The other girls nodded and vanished in different shunshuns. Sex can do many good things even to the most hardened kunoichi. Chapter 3. Jonin's son Naruto. Under the covers, a head of red spiky hair was only visible and had a head of black hair and red hair on both sides. All 3 seemed to breathe, moving the covers slightly. The sun outside was shining beautifully outside and the birds chirped outside the Namikaze Uzumaki estate. Beep, beep, beep. The spiky-haired male under the covers snuggled his head into the black-haired female's covered body, getting a giggle. Moo, Naruto-kun, you can't get enough of me? The voice of Makoto Uchiha asked teasingly. A black-colored tail twitched under the covers. Naruto replied back sleepily. I am keeping myself warm, Karasu Oju-chan. His crimson-colored tail twitched with movement before slipping under the covers around his waist. Beep, beep, beep. The dark aura manifested around Naruto, who gained a huge tick mark and suddenly jumped up with a roar in only his black boxers with the Uchiha symbol on them, punched the alarm clock and table in two, using his monster strength, making him sigh and drop between his mates Makoto Uchiha and Kushina. Makoto was having a bad day with her boss whining all the time about him not getting enough training since he couldn't outdo Naruto and tried so hard not to put him in a genjutsu that would make even the toughest shinobi cry. She was saddened when a masked man snuck into the clan compound and slaughtered most of the Uchiha, leaving half of them alive including Shisui and the others, and kept drinking so much she was drunk, stumbling through Naruto's home. That little predicament led to Makoto's inner lust breaking free and engaged in a wild, passionate threesome with him and Kushina before being marked by him as her mate. After that, Naruto trained both of them in their abilities as a Saiyan and had them access their Super Saiyan forms all the way up to the 4th level, which impressed him immensely. Goku continued to teach him and spent more time with him as he could since his time was coming near to go back to his world, making Naruto sadden further before attacking his training with vigor. Naruto continued to deal with his everyday annoyance at the academy. It was so damn pathetic at how the academy fell further. All it was there is study, 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 fucking bookwork. He nearly burned the entire academy down with his stare alone, and it took almost the whole shinobi force to stop him from using his great fire destruction on it. He stayed at the top the entire time, though he wondered what Goku said about there being a surprise for him later on today, which made Naruto a bit suspicious, hearing his father figure's mischievous tone, and shrugged it off. Naruto moved to get up only for Kushina to mount him, getting a groan as she rocked her hips back and forth with a smirk. Kushi-chan, I need to head in for my graduation. Kushina smirked deeper and moved her hips faster, making his tail twitch in pleasure only for him to vanish using his instant transmission, making Kushina and Makoto whine in displeasure. Everyone got dressed in their own attire. Naruto wore black pants with wide ankle wraps and black sandals. He wore a sleeveless black karate gi that was open showing his muscles and had black leather arm and handguards, black colored versions of Shippuden Sasuke's brown leather guards, and had black fingerless gloves with prayer beads wrapped around his left hand. On his back was a red pole, but it was the power pole of his sensei that could extend using his own energy, yet he had it remade into chakra titanium, allowing him to use elemental chakra with the attacks, and on his neck was a necklace of the royal Saiyan family, and he had left his hair spiky, and on his legs were shuriken, tag, kunai, and pouches. On his hips were scrolls that had different colors with the kanji for Fuin, on his back and blood red was the kanji for Saiyan God. He meditated for a few hours before getting up from the backyard, walking into the kitchen, picking up a scroll that had his energy and protein drinks in it, along with a sandwich. I'm heading out, girls. Hi. Good luck, Naruto-kun. He smiled warmly and walked his way to the academy. Naruto-kun. He blinked and saw Shika, Hanabi, Hinata, Toki, Shina, Yume, Kimeko, Shima, Ami and Saya appearing in different elemental sunshine, looking more beautiful thanks to the years of training with him, though Toki did have a white-colored tail twitching behind her thanks to their mating in the shower, giggity giggity. How are you girls doing today? They all smiled at him. Just got through with a daily spar and spotted our delicious-looking hubby walking down here all alone. Ami hugged him from behind, roaming her hands over his sculpted muscles with a lustful glint in her eyes. Saya bops Ami on the head, getting a whine from her. Down girl. Heel. The scolds playfully, getting an indignant huff, getting rounds of laughter before they chat, walking toward the academy where loud sounds could be heard even from the outside, getting groans from the girls, while Naruto smirks, his eyes glinting with excitement for the first time. He glanced back at them. Party for the Ipanema baby. They all grinned knowing what that means. Party time after graduation. They cheered running through the halls to class. Party time indeed. Goku chuckled dryly while planning on the surprise for Naruto tonight. Academy classroom, Iruka sighed for like the 13th time with a vein bulging on his temple, tapping his desk losing his patience, and was about to use his big-headed jutsu, only to see Naruto and his girls enter the room, quieting down everyone who looked submissive, though he saw Kiba, Ino, Sakura, and Sasuke along with several others give them jealous and hateful glares, making him slap his forehead in exasperation. Why can't they realize they won't match up with Naruto and his girls? He thought dryly but put on a smile seeing his surrogate brother. Hey, Iruka Nai-san. Iruka waved back with Mizuki waving at Naruto too and waited for everyone to be seated, though Shika, Yume, and Saya noticed Kiba leering at Hinata while Naruto wasn't looking and sent a sign to him, causing the Saiyan god to snap, his eyes blazing orange towards Kiba, who yelled before pissing himself. Naruto snorted at how easy it was to frighten the smelly assmut and listened to and explained how proud they were to make it this far and passed out their written test and waited 20 minutes for them to finish. Naruto focused on his tests but kept his other senses open and suddenly groaned inwardly and looked under his desk to see Ami stroking off slowly with a lustful glint in her eyes. Ami, what are you doing? He hissed at her, resisting the urge to pacific her. Damn, other people watching. I haven't had my morning snack, so stop resisting. She glared at him and began sucking and stroking him at a fast rate, making him grip his desk tightly, causing cracks near the seats of others, getting scared looks coming from the other guys who thought he was gonna beat them badly. Naruto rubs her head slowly, making her purr, causing his pleasure to spike, and felt his cock expand and felt her suck harder and faster before he emptied himself down her throat. He sighed as he pulled his dick back in his pants, zipping it up as Ami licked the last drop off the corner of her mouth before turning her test in while smirking smugly at the jealous looks on the girls that saw what she did to Naruto and sat in her seat, ignoring the glares from Ino and Sakura. Alright kids, Hokage-sama has explained that the Taijutsu, weapons and ninjutsu exam will not be necessary. Do not question his decisions, Ino, Sakura, Kiba, Sasuke. Iruka said the last part coldly with authority, making several shivers, while Naruto and the others had smirks on their faces at Iruka's Anbu persona kicking in. Iruka moved through some papers and motioned to the dark red-colored headband on his desk that had the kanji for fire on the black steel metal part. This headband will be given to the one rewarded Rookie of the Year, which will be based on your scores from all academy years leading up until here. He explained, much to the growing greed and pride of others. Mizuki went over to the class grade papers and called out each name of the students, some passing with good scores, some barely, and others passing by a kunai mark, but when it came time for the higher placements, a bomb was dropped. Our Kunoichi of the Year. Wait, scratch that. Kunoichis of the Year is Toki Senju, Saya Haruno, Yume Aburam, Shina Aburam, Shikanara, Shimanara, Hinata Hyuga, Hanabi Hyuga, Sai Shimura, Choji Akimichi, and Ami Midarashi. Several guys including Naruto clapped loudly while others who had angered looks didn't like that and protested loudly with and ignoring them. Now for Rookie of the Year. Everyone except a smirking Naruto leaned forward with anticipation, nerves shaking badly, and Naruto saw the pranking glint in his older brother's eyes and had to stop from busting out laughing along with Goku. Here it comes. Both snickered. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Senju son Uchiha. He announced, causing every girl that liked Naruto to squeal loudly while the guys gave him claps on the back. Sasuke roared in fury. How the hell does this weakling have such a title and not an elite like myself? I demand the title of Rookie of the Year now. He shouted, getting glares from Naruto's friends. Listen here, you piece of shit Uchiha. Naruto-senpai worked hard like the rest of you, Inuyaro, Pinky and Piggy. You bitched and complained to the council about falsifying your grades to look like you did good in your class, so stuff it, asshole. Teen Sasaki roared, his hair blazing orange-red, showing his Hijin, fire god, bloodline that allowed his clan unparalleled control over the element of fire and in some cases the legendary blaze element. Somehow Sasuke found out and was very jealous of it and tried to outdo Kin every time, who was a threat to his superiority. But out Kin Baka. Sakura jumped to her crush's defense, only for Keen's sister Blaze to give them cold looks, making even Sasuke scared a little. Naruto-kun deserves that title that he got through blood, sweat and tears and is still humble to the end, unlike this waste of space in front of us. She finished with a mocking sneer, getting a smirk from Naruto. I like her. Keen, who heard Naruto's comment, gave his brother a mock glare. Don't go hitting on my sister, Naruto. Naruto raised his hands in mock surrender. Why not, she's beautiful, even if she has a heart of ice, though I hope she'll melt mine. He said in a suave tone, making the girls squeal again louder with hearts in their eyes at how romantic he sounded, making Blaze blush redder than her orange hair, though she felt touched by his words. Vegeta would be so proud of that charm of yours. Goku said in amusement, making Naruto grin slightly at that. The Falcon masked sunshine into the room. Naruto-kun, Hokage-sama is waiting and congratulations on being Rookie of the Year. She said proudly before vanishing in a leaf shunshin as Naruto tied the headband around his forehead under his hair and teleported using his flying rage and teleporting in a red flash. Let's go girls, Keen, Blaze-chan, Naruto-kun is taking us out to a club tonight. Ami asked her two friends who looked at each other with raised eyebrows before turning back with shit-eating grins. Why the hell not, let's go party like a rockstar baby. Keen howled, heading out with Ami and the others, not seeing the plotting look in the eyes of Ino, Sakura and Kiba, while Sasuke just breathed even harder. Hokage Tower. The Sandaime looked up as a red flash entered the room showing Naruto in his new attire, getting looks of lust and blushes from most of the women. You called it, Sarutobi-sama. Naruto replied professionally, getting raised eyebrows from everyone. Sandaime smiles and tosses him a black-colored style vest with the kanji for second coming of Madara in kanji on the back and red above the Uchiha symbol. This is your graduation present, Naruto-kun, or should I say son Naruto. Said person had a huge shit-eating grin on his face and put the accessory on and saw it felt perfect, seeing he retained his mobility in it. Now Naruto. Naruto grew a serious visage hearing the authority in his grandfather's voice. I want to know if you want to take an apprentice or two, correct this old man's mistakes. He asked with a smile, getting a thoughtful look from Naruto, who picks up the clipboard looking through it while asking for recommendations every now and then. I would like Blaze Sasaki, Ami Mitarashi and Toki Senju as my students. He said, getting gasps wondering why he wanted them. If I hear a single snake whore comment out of anyone in this room, then some medic nin better prepare a room in the ICU after I get done with you. He spoke coldly afterwards, his Sharingan glowing demonically, making several gulp and shake in their pants, getting fearful nods. Good. He nods, getting his ki under control, allowing them to breathe while inwardly thinking in shock. Like Kami-sama, that was worse than being near the Nine Tails back that night. Here is in thought with a shiver. As you all know or know now, I have been training these girls outside the academy after classes for years. Blaze Sasaki has the reserves of a seasoned captain, mid to high Anbu control, elite jonin in ninjutsu to jutsu, while being mid jonin in jinjutsu and fuinjutsu, due to her and her brother's clan not having much knowledge on that. He picked up Ami's file with a smirk. Ami Mitarashi, sister of Anko Mitarashi, cage level stealth and tracking skills thanks to me, Anko-chan and Kur-chan teaching her. Ninjutsu is at mid Anbu due to her having Kaiten, Doten and Suiton elements. Taijutsu is high Jonin thanks to her expertise with Anko in the Hebiken Taijutsu style while having other styles under her belt. Ninjutsu low Sanin thanks to me and Kurenai's Ninjutsu lessons which she takes after very excellently. Fuinjutsu is adept right now. Kinjutsu is high Anbu level, not knowing if she really is a Mitarashi or Uzumaki because she has amazing skill in her chakra control is high Sanin, reserves are at the level of mid Sanin level ninja, and her speed is Sanin material. He continued smirking, seeing the shock evident in their eyes, while Anko was glistening with tears of pride at her younger sister's progress. He finally reached Toki Senju. Toki Senju, she seemed to have inherited the same skills of Hashirama, Tobirama, and Toka Senju, and her reserves are at 4 cages, control is perfect, speed is insane, outclassing an Anbu by 2 times, and her skills and everything else is definitely Sanin class or higher. And I can train them to their full potential since I specialize in every aspect of ninja and can split time evenly training them all at once, and I won't subject them to any favoritism. He gave a discreet glance towards Kakashi, who was reading his book lazily, getting glares from all the female ninjas at him reading smut. Naruto was hugged from behind by Anko, sobbing, mumbling thank you over and over. Thank you, Naruto-kun. You made this burden more light for me to bear. His eyes softened and smiled at her. Anko-chan, I promise to help you and I will make good on that promise. He spoke, infusing her till his purple flame glowing hand touched her mark. Many expected her to be in pain, but blushed red when she moaned in pleasure and ecstasy. Oh, this feels so good. She moaned with a blush on her face, while the others saw a black orb in Naruto's hand and suddenly was absorbed into his body. Naruto blinked suddenly before his lips thinned into a tight line and everyone detected his slowly rising ki. It seems we have spies in our village of your old student Sarutobi-sama and has created his own village called Itagakure no Sato and is planning on joining with Sunagakure no Sato, Kurigakure no Sato, and Iwagakure no Sato, but Yuzugakure no Sato has been rebuilt. Naruto's eyes flew open wide in shock and happiness, while others were surprised that Yuzu had been rebuilt, though he noticed some looked angered and scared. We do not need to be involved with Yuzu right now. Kakashi glared at Naruto, who returned the glare with twice the killing intent. Cry me a fucking river, bitch. You think I will allow anyone to deny me learning more about my family? I will retaliate against anyone that stops me," said Naruto in a dark cold voice, his hands on his Raijin kunai in a dual grip, making everyone tense. Enough. Naruto glanced at his surrogate grandfather from the corner of his eye with a look of annoyance and spoke. "Yes, Hokage-sama." His voice contained barely veiled fury at Kakashi. "Naruto-kun, ignore what Kakashi-san is saying and go pick up your apprentices." Naruto looked back at Kakashi with his Rinnegan active, giving him a very hateful stare of evil intent rolling off him, and they saw his hand twitching rapidly before he headed toward the window, and to their shock, he summoned a large red-skinned dragon with a scar over its left eye. Naruto sat down cross-legged on his companion summon Ryu and gave them parting words. "Stay out of me and my apprentice's way, and I promise to keep myself from shoving my sword up your ass, Cyclops. You aren't worth me using my own weak trash like you," he said coldly before flying off back towards the academy, leaving them in the office glaring at Kakashi. "Paddock. You are this close from me shoving my snakes up your ass." Anko snarled, her brown eyes turned to a reptilian slit, and he saw black-scaled vipers hissing from her sleeves and saw a guy pulling out his nunchucks, assume as trench knives. Kurenai her hands in a ram seal while Yugao and Falcon had their hands twitching towards their katanas, making him sweat before sunshining to safety, making them swear loudly and rounded on the old man who blinked. "Calm down, people. If Kakashi even thinks of harming Naruto, you have my permission to beat the shit out of him," he said with a smirk, getting matching dark sadistic grins that scared even him. "Kakashi, you are so screwed." He snickered at the Cyclops' misfortune. The academy, Iruka and Mizuki sweated, cowering under their desks with many others as a black and red aura surrounded Naruto's girls, who looked at Sasuke, Sakura, Ino, and Kiba with murder in their eyes. Why? Because Kiba had the nerve to try and claim them when Naruto wasn't around and ended up getting the shit kicked out of them. "Hold him down." Toki barked, pulling out a very sharp switchblade, getting nods before their assailants were pinned down by Shika's shadows, allowing Toki to walk toward Kiba with a very eerie grin on her face, making the dog boy scream for help. "Yes, that's it, scream for help, but no one is coming to save you, doggy boy. Now let's see how getting neutered feels." Kiba paled Orochimaru wide and started struggling harder, looking to his partner Akamaru for help, only for her to turn her nose up at him, getting a betrayed look from him. "Seems Maru-chan wants a new master now, and I'm sure Tsume-sama and Kuromaru-sama would agree to tighten the bindings on Shika." Shika nodded with a dark smirk and sent more chakra, getting screams of pain as the shadows constricted tighter. "Is this really a good idea?" Hanabi asked in mock worry, getting dark snickers from Saya and Blaze, chilling the ones hiding behind the desk immensely. "And Nii-san is really pissed now." Keen squeaked, his eyes dilated, showing fear. "No, this is a perfect idea, isn't that right, Sakura Amato?" Saya sneered down at her shaking little sister. Saya's eyes landed on Sasuke, and her smirk made him go pale in the face. "Ami-chan." Ami looked at her harem sister from the corner of her eye with a raised eyebrow. Saya pointed at Sasuke's crotch and made a snipping motion, causing every male in the room to go pale in the face and give Sasuke a look of pity. Ami grinned evilly and pulled out a rusty kunai that had a serrated edge to it and walked towards Sasuke with a purpose in her step, making him struggle fiercely to get away. "Now let's see which one I should cut off first," she asked in a sing-song voice that made Orochimaru and Anko look tame. "Do you think calling my hubby a disgrace to his own grandfather Madara-sama and Hashirama-sama, that insult will not go unpunished?" she said coldly and flipped the blade in a reverse grip and stabbed down, only to hear a door opening, and everyone turned to see an amused Naruto standing in front of a bunch of scared senseis who were looking at them with wide eyes. Even Anko was afraid of her little sister right now. "Well, it seems my apprentices have already started getting along with each other." He smirked at their tilted heads. "Apprentices?" Toki asked cutely, only for Naruto to point at his Jonin vest, getting gasps and squeals. "That's right, from now on Toka Senju, Ami Mitarashi and Blaze Sasaki are now apprentices of Son Naruto," he pronounced, making said girl's jaws drop, cracking the ground. "Yada. We got Naruto-sama." Blaze squealed with joy, swinging around Naruto's neck, getting a chuckle. Saya suddenly asked a question with an innocent expression. "Naruto-kun, can we finish our initiation into yours?" she asked in a seductive cute voice that spoke of devotion and loyalty, getting weird looks from Mibuki and Kurenai, only to shudder seeing Sakura, Sasuke, Ino, and Kiba tied to the tables like they were about to attempt a ritual. Naruto tilted his head with a smirk. Using this genjutsu would be classified as SSS rank forbidden due to how traumatizing it can be. He handed multiple scrolls to his girls with his signature written on it and read it. Soon after they finished they had wide sadistic grins on their faces and slipped them into their pockets. Naruto-kun, what genjutsu was that? Kurenai asked with a hint of longing in her voice since she loved genjutsu made by Naruto. Here you go, I made enough copies for you, Mibuyuki-chan, Yuga-chan, Anko and the other girls. All it takes is a low worth of chakra and excellent control of chakra. He handed the other copies to the girls while the guys watched Toki make a hand sign at Kiba, whose eyes glazed over before bulging in horror and screamed his head off in a very girly voice. Ah. Get them away from me. He screamed, struggling with every ounce of strength in his body, frothing at the mouth. Hhhhh. Hell no, you bastard cousin. Sasuke screeched out, his vocal cords cracking windows, getting raised eyebrows as they saw the blush on his face and the glazed over eyes before he slumped down. Sakura and Ino started to moan uncontrollably and saw their panties were really wet and screamed out. Yes, Naruto-sama more. Naruto's eyeballs almost bulged out their socket and stared at the two blushing girls who were looking at him in wild hunger and saw Chaoji's hand sign was a bit different. Okami-sama, this is not good. He whispered in slight fear and worry. Everyone turned to see Ino and Sakura's eyes glaze slightly and turned toward Naruto, who froze, and to their shock, did the table start to crack before their eyes and saw both Kunoichi looking at him in crazed lust. I think Chaoji home just brought out their hidden lust that is somehow directed at me. Naruto said with a bit of fear, backing away towards the door. What is going on with them? Keen asked, scared as both looked like two female rapists that found some new meat. That hand seal Chaoji used on accident just reversed their love for Sasuke towards me, except it's much worse. It turns them completely fanatical to that person and has an insane libido, and trust me, you do not want to see what happened to the guy that got caught by a group of them. Naruto said, his eyes shrinking in horror, remembering the fate he left a missing nin to, even he wasn't that cruel. Why does it look like they are raping you with their eyes? Anko pointed out, and everyone saw their eyes darkened almost black with lust aimed at him. Think of a very horny dog who has been deprived of mating for 10 years, multiplied by 4 times. Almost everyone's eyes widened in pure horror and shock, even Kiba and Sasuke were looking like they wanted to be away from the two now lust-controlled girls. Taoji-chan, which of the genjutsu did you use? He asked with her pointing toward one in pink near the word caution, and his eyes bulged. She used the succubus mind convert technique, double shit. That technique turns any girl into a ninja version of a damn sex eater. He said out loud, making the tied-up males scream in fear, struggling to get away. Then Naruto, come on, get us out of here. Kiba shouted, pleading, giving scared eyes toward Sakura and Ino, who were about to break free. Cousin. If you let us go, I will give up the Uchiha superiority and emo attitude for a whole month, I swear. Sasuke yelled desperately, getting nods before being released. Do not break your promise, little cousin. Sasuke nodded rapidly while on his neck a seal flashes black before fading away along with the corrupt chakra. Time skip 1 week later. 1 week had passed since that incident, though both Ino and Sakura had been turned back to normal, but alas, the damage had been done. Every time they saw him, they would try to talk to him for his attention or buy him gifts, making Naruto realize that maybe that accident changed them for the better and maybe could become friends with them. News of Naruto's promotion had spread everywhere, even to a certain cloak-wearing organization, and soon Team Sun had been racking in all sorts of missions like crazy. Each day they completed 50 to 70 D ranks and C ranks with other teams, and soon each got their own name in the bingo book. Ami the Shadow Snake, Blaze the Hellfire Queen, Toki the Genjutsu Empress, and finally Son Naruto the Crimson Saiyan God. Soon missions started coming in from all over the nations requiring the services of Team Sun. Even the Amazon village requested them and became enamored with Naruto, even asking to bear his children, making him wonder if all powerful women are like that. Naruto made sure his team could use every shinobi aspect from weapons to sword usage. He made sure each and every area was covered, making their teamwork perfect to the point it outclassed the Sannin in their prime. Even the more experienced Kunoichi praised him immensely for creating such strong girls, which he accepted with a bashful smile. As for Kiba, his attempts to get Hinata increased even after the warning he was given by his mother, Hana, and Hiyashi's clan, which was later reinforced by Naruto, who threatened to remove his bits personally if he continued, which stalled him for a few more days, but that wouldn't repent the lecherous Inuzuka. Sasuke was more surprising each day. By each passing day his features and looks got even more feminine to where he looked like a girl, though Naruto and Makoto had a suspicion as to why he looked like that. The girls had gotten their own form of training from their respective clans, getting stronger in the process, which he was proud of. His training with Goku had finally been finished, and here he was standing at a portal waiting for some people who would like to see him. Sensei, who are we waiting for? Goku just smiled. Just friends of mine. He replied cryptically, making Naruto's eyes narrow dangerously at him, causing Goku to sweat before huffing, and turned away, getting a quiet sigh of relief. Almost ruined the surprise. Accurate, we're coming through. Naruto's eyebrow rose above his hairline in shock and slight happiness as Vegeta, the second one to achieve god status, walked through wearing black armor, who looked slightly surprised to see Naruto. Dad, here we come. Naruto turned back to the portal to see Gohan and Goten walk through looking grown up with a girl wearing an orange bandana trailing behind them, looking about 1 inch taller than him. Pan. What are you doing? Goku yelled, getting a raised eyebrow. I came to see who you've been training. Is he cute? She smiled saucily, getting an eyebrow twitch from Gohan. Pan. Gohan and his brother groaned in exasperation, making her pout cutely. Seriously Pan. A lavender-haired adult said boredly, making Naruto snicker, getting everyone's attention before falling down, laughing his ass off pointing at his hair. Hey Kami-sama, I thought that bubblegum pink hair was bad on a guy, but lavender, this takes the cake. He cackled uncontrollably, making Vegeta and Gohan and Goten snicker, while Trunks' eyebrow twitched rapidly with a red steamed face at the jab towards his hair. Why did I automy? Trunks roared, lunging at Naruto, who only appeared on his head, then leaned down with a smirk. Oughta be faster than that girly boy. Naruto said with a smirk, getting narrowed eyes from Trunks. You are getting on my nerves. Naruto only raised an eyebrow in amusement. That's the best you got, I'm surprised you haven't gotten laid yet. That comment turned his face apple red and started stuttering in indignation, while Vegeta was red in the face holding in his laughter. What about you then? Trunks retorted, making Goku slap his face. Trunks, you walked into that one. Vegeta turned a confused look towards his best friend. You sure you wanna know? Not to be afraid Pan Heim here might get attracted to me. He raised an eyebrow with fake cockiness, reminding them of Vegeta. Like Pan Minato would go out with a shrimp like you. Goten scoffed, got a snort and pointed at his clothing. Says one who is wearing the most hideous color in the entire universe. That orange is bright enough, saying here I am like a neon sign. Goten tried to come up with a retort, but it died in his mouth and slumped with a dark cloud over his head in a corner. So you did the deed already? Naruto smirked, showing his fangs. Multiple times, yes. They looked at him in shock, while Pan just looked with a blush and a nosebleed. And Naruto, when was this? Goku stuttered, with Naruto smirking before showing them the memories of all his sexual romps, and soon they were beet red looking at him with wide eyes and nosebleeds. Oh my god. This kid's a damn stamina freak. Goten shouted his innocence about women being destroyed completely. Accurate, I am so jealous of this kid right now. Vegeta said with envy, though he sensed something up with Naruto's energy and saw a red furry appendage, and his eyes widened. Naruto noticed and grinned. What's the matter, Grandpa? Vegeta, you looked shocked. His hair suddenly turned a pale green, causing their eyes to widen in shock. It can't be, Goten said in fear, only to get amused laughter. No, is his descendant, as you can see, and I am much different from Broly in power and skill. He showed his red tail, showing his power. Red means he's very powerful. Goku smiled with pride. Why, yes, thanks for the compliment, Sensei, since I kicked your ass in all our spars now, seems that old age is getting in on you, old timer. Goku faulted with an embarrassed blush at the jab towards his age. And smirked at Naruto, who only smirked back and charged at him with a blurring kick he caught without effort, causing a shockwave to erupt. Oh, getting feisty, huh, Pan-chan? He smirked flirtatiously, making Pan blush and smirk back at him. Of all time she chooses to flirt, she does it with on steroids descendant who can kick our asses with ease. Goten complained. What do you mean to all of us? Trunks asked in confusion as Pan traded blows with Naruto, who only slapped them away each time during their clash that was wrecking everything. He's mastered every single technique I taught him and his brutality when he fights. Goku shivers, remembering how he ripped a man's head clean off in a millisecond, crushing it like a fruit. Naruto kinda got pissed at some asshole's comment about his mother and ripped the man's head clean off with one hand. That explanation made even Vegeta look at Naruto in a new light, as Naruto was smirking at a frustrated-looking Pan, who tried to land a hit on him before she blinked, seeing a red flash before feeling steel against her throat. Turning, she saw Naruto's bow staff against her chin. I win. They raised an eyebrow at his performance. Congrats Naruto, you've improved over the year, now let's see you handle the ultimate warrior. Goku shouted, with Vegeta doing a weird dance. Fusion. Ha. Naruto covered his eyes in time to catch a very powerful kick aimed at him, and to his shock, he looked up to see a long red-haired man smirking at Naruto wearing very strange clothing. Now face the might of Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Naruto smirked and jumped away before focusing his energy. Ha. Naruto roared, entering his Super Saiyan 1 state and engaged Pan, Trunks, Goten, and Vegeta in a huge battle, so much the landscape in his mind turned into a lava background state of Namek. How I remember this. Vegeta said wistfully. Naruto kicked him in the stomach, sending in pain Vegeta crashing into the ground while using his legs to block the others' attacks. What's wrong, too hot for ya? He said, doing a mock kick, making them glare before entering their transformed states, engaging him into jutsu and firing Kai blasts at each other. Naruto's eyes darkened with bloodlust and increased to stage 2 and roared. That shows me the power of a Saiyan elite. His voice thick with bloodlust and excitement, so much his power was rocking the ground. Vegeta smirked and gathered Kai to his palms and placed them forward as a huge ball of blue Kai grew even larger by the second. Dodge this. Big Bang Kamehameha the 10th-100. Naruto's grin widened as the massive beam came toward him with several others and cupped his hands back in a stance with a red orb in his hands. Let's see if it can take this. Shinku Omega Final Kamehameha. Their eyes flew open in shock, especially Vegeta. How does he know Vegeta's my technique? Their eyes widened in shock further as the beams seemed to expand bigger and clashed with the multiple beams. They pushed power in theirs only for their eyes to widen in shock as clones of Naruto appeared behind them with similar attacks at the ready. If you don't want to get hurt badly, surrender. They were quiet for a bit and nodded, relenting their attacks and reverted to their original states. Anne grimaced in pain only to feel a hand on her stomach and moaned inwardly at the warm feeling in her stomach and watched in awe as a bruise was healed quickly. You okay, Pan-chan? She nodded with a blush, not seeing Goku's teasing grin. Trunks panted heavily with a grin. You definitely trained yourself a true warrior, that's for sure. We were going full out and he beat us using simple tactics and skill. He's good. Naruto nodded in respect at the compliment. Strong, handsome, and caring jackpot. Pan shouted with hearts in her eyes, glumping on a slightly blushing Naruto. You can stay with him if you want, Pan Musuko. Pan looked at him with wide eyes and squealed before hugging Goku tightly, making him yelp in pain, feeling his bones begin to break. We're staying, we want to pass on our techniques to young Naruto besides his family, correct? They nodded at Vegeta's words. This will be fun, nah? Pan smirked and sauntered toward his hip swaying and kissed his cheek. Oh, you can guarantee that, Naruto-kun. She purred, making him smirk fiercely. The Crimson Saiyan God does not have a limit. How much fear will he and his family spread through the nations now? Chapter 4 Wave Country, Naruto's training ground, Uo Toki Haim. Naruto groaned, gripping the hips of a lustful Toki Senju as she bounced on his dick eagerly. He didn't think she would come visit his house and request to spar with him, then you can guess it was nearly impossible to surprise the baddest Uchiha. The spar was going at a destructive high pace, Kai blasts, punches, kicks, throws and counters were thrown everywhere, rocking the training ground, while the rest of the village was innocent of the monster spar going on. After a while Toki requested him to show her how to reach her Super Saiyan state and Naruto agreed, but when Toki unlocked it on her 5th try, he had to fend off a lust-driven Super Saiyan Toki after finding out the effect it had on females, especially with Kushina and Makoto. The first super stage caused males to become more bloodthirsty, angry and aggressive, while the females were given an insanely intense lust drive and libido. He tried many times to calm her down from the lust high, but he realized he would have to dominate his mate student again, and for 8 hours till sundown, they screwed each other's brains out in an intense spar-turned-fuckfist, and it was wild and passionate. If he had to guess, he would have thought she had the stamina of a freaking Uzumaki and Senju combined into one. Ah. Naruto-sensei, your cock is pounding me so deep. Toki screamed in pleasure as her womb was being jackhammered into next tomorrow, and such aggressiveness was making her so horny, and wet her tail was standing straight up in pleasure. Naruto grunted, pulling out and came on her stomach and chest before both leaned against the tree with satisfied grins. Wow, who knew this beauty could be so wild? Toki giggled and allowed herself to be picked up and taken inside where Ami, the girls, Kushina and Makoto were hanging out playing video games, arm wrestling, watching TV and writing out training notes and just chilling basically. Boy. Toki-chan, no fair, you got to play with Naruto-sensei-kun. Ami shook a fist at Toki, who had a shit-eating grin and stuck her tongue out, playfully causing the others to giggle and snort in amusement. Naruto shrugged, slapping Toki's ass as she passed up the stairs to take a shower, getting a low lustful purr, and continued with a sexy sway. Bubble-ass cheeks. Hanabi insulted in indignation, only getting the bird in response, amusing Naruto, Makoto and Kushina. So, Naruto-kun, how many missions has your team accomplished? Makoto asked curiously, eating a bowl of pasta while Ami, Blaze and Toki, who just finished her shower, just smirked. Naruto licked his lips thinking for a moment. 2000 D ranks, 55 C ranks, 10 B ranks, 6 A ranks and 4 S ranks. He grinned a shit-eating grin at the jaw drops from Shikia, Yum and the others, except a dancing Toki, Blaze and Ami with glee and pride. Kushina grinned and hugged him close. MMMH, your queen is shivering in delight for her king. He shivered, feeling her breasts against his back rubbing, and saw the girls looking at him with lustful leering looks and felt his pants being gripped and gulped. Knock. Knock. He whistled, saved by the knock, and to the entrance and opened the door, raising an eyebrow to see Yugao. Yu-chan, what brings you here? He asked while discreetly checking out her ass and chest. Yugao shivered behind her Nico mask in delight at her crush, checking out her ass and chest, before snapping back to what she was supposed to be doing. It's nice to see you again Naruto-kun, but we have a problem. Team 7 and Team 8 with Sensei's Haddock-senpai and Kurenai Yuhi went on a C-rank mission toward Nami no Kuni, but encountered no bandits, but the Oni no Kaidai a pair of C-rank Kiri missing nin. Yugao explained, and Naruto had a deep frown on his face. Something tells me that there's something else. He thought, closing his eyes with a sigh. Continue please, I want to know how bad Haddock Baka fucked up before I get my girls. He sighed resigned and Yugao nodded. Kiba Inuyasaka basically demanded they continue the mission so he can show Hinata and Satsuki who the alpha male is. Yugao made lazy air quotes with Kiba's voice and then gagged and Naruto's face was shadowed, scaring Yugao. They later encountered an A-rank borderline S-rank missing ninja Uzumaki, Kurigakure no Kijin bumping it up to a high A-rank mission and… Yugao hesitated and Naruto noticed this and felt he would seriously not like what was said next. What happened? He said coldly, making her gulp. Hinata Hyuga, Satsuki Uchiha and the client's daughter were kidnapped. Naruto's eyes glowed with burning rage at the danger Haddock put his girlfriend, clansman and the client's family in and walked back inside the house. Team Son, Kushina, Mikoto gear up and move out now. Naruto commanded booking no argument and they quickly got suited up in their mission gear. Naruto-kun what's wrong? Hanabi asked with worry. Naruto breathed deeply holding his chest to keep from destroying everything in sight. Haddock and that little bitch Kiba continued on a A-rank borderline S-rank mission to Nami no Kuni up against Uzumaki the Kurigakure no Kijin and got 3 people kidnapped. Your sister, Satsuki-chan and the client's daughter. The wall Naruto was gripping imploded from the strength behind it and he strapped on his grandfather's armor, gunbai, weapon pouches, katana and his other weapons, looking ready to go to war. Hanabi paled before her Byakugan activated with fury. I demand to go on this mission Naruto-sensei and don't you dare say I'm not strong enough. Naruto smirked darkly. I wasn't planning on saying that, you're coming as well. Nico accompanied us. Yugao grinned nodding and they all sunshine to the gate. Naruto gave them one last order. Team Sun, Diamond Formation, Kushina, Mikoto, Yugao up front with me, Hanabi, Shikia, Yum, saw you watch the rear now let's go. Hi. Off like rockets they disappeared into the growing darkness, unaware of the growing coldness and bloodlust in Naruto's eyes. With Goku and the others, Goku's head snapped up with worry confusing the other Z-warriors, along with Vegeta, Bulma, Goten, Gohan, Trunks, Pan, and Bulla. Kakarot what is it? Vegeta asked and stretched out his senses like Goku did and felt a shiver down his spine. It's Naruto. He is unbelievably pissed right now, like Broly times 10 pissed off. Several shuddered at that while Bulla and certain others grew interested in hearing about Naruto. Is this hot you were talking about Pan? Pan blushed pink with glazed over eyes getting groans from Trunks and Goten while Gohan just chuckled in amusement. Yes, he's Grandpa's successor and he's the same age as me and you but he's definitely more skilled than we'll ever be even midget over there. Krillin looked insulted at the jab toward his height and the insinuation a teenager is stronger than him. No way. I've been fighting my whole life. How can a teenager be stronger than me? He yelled in indignation. He is a ninja so he's bound to get into more fights to the death than you ever did Krillin. Vegeta said seriously, sending shock through the others listening. And you said he's already stronger than you Goku? Chichi asked in shock and wondered, getting a smile of pride. Whatever I taught him, he learned in a matter of hours and took only a few weeks to master them and his transformations. He's like a combination of me, Vegeta and Broly, except much more deadlier and skilled. Several shivered hearing how skilled Naruto was. Isn't he also Broly's descendant? Pan asked for owlish eyes from the Z fighters. Yes, he is as a matter of a fact, except he's emotionless and calm, even if he's completely angry he can use Broly's transformations and our transformations and knows how to use them in many different ways and the brutality he has. Gohan shivered remembering what Naruto did to someone who dissed his mother. What did he do? Yamacha asked in an open mouth, insert footway. Gohan felt a bead of sweat go down his head and saw Goten in a corner, sucking his thumb like a baby rocking back and forth, getting a snigger from Vegeta and a sweat drop from Goku. Well, Naruto is very sensitive about insults to his mother and a council member called his mom a name I am not going to say especially in a room with a bunch of female martial artists. Gohan said standing behind Piccolo looking at them warily. Bulma raised an eyebrow. What did the guy say? She asked in a sweet tone making Gohan sweat bullets refusing to meet her eyes and saw the other guys avoiding eye contact with Bulma and Chichi. Fuck that, no way in hell I'm saying it. Goku thought not wanting to experience that damn frying pan again. Vegeta was stoic but inwardly he was trying not to tell them or risk getting caught in the crossfire of feminine rage and he was soon not opening his mouth. Yay. So not saying it. He gulped inwardly, sending a silent message to the other males. Do not speak. They nodded in return. Slut who spreads her legs. Choitsu said blinking confusingly getting pale looks from the guys while the females excluding Pan however stilled instantly. Is that so? Chichi drawled in a voice that meant someone was going to hurt very badly. Goku stood up. Well, I'm out later. He waved before busting through the wall running like crazy, leaving the guys to stare, but got a chill and saw them sending impassive silent glares, daring them to run. Trunks gulped, tugging his collar and twitched something. Bulma gave an evil daring glare at him, which he couldn't help but match, and tensed his muscles, and so did the others. I'm outta here. Krillin blasted off like crazy with Tien and Chaoitsu behind him. Gohan looked at Piccolo, who nodded and blasted off as well, barely dodging a knife thrown into the wall. Vegeta looked at Goten, Trunks and Yamcha and nodded before blasting off as well, dodging a frying pan burying itself in the wall, screaming their heads off, flying away. Get back here and answer us. Bulma, 18, Launch and Chichi roared in fury and started their regular female rant, getting sweat drops from Bulla and Pan. Let's go save Grandpa so we can go see Naruto-kun. Bulla nodded, wanting to see this guy who piqued her interest. But Naruto gazed at the ground, kneeling at the site where Zabuza fought against Team 7 and 8 before taking Satsuki, Hinata and Tazuna's daughter Tsunami. He cannot imagine the heartache the old man is suffering right now, all because of those stupid Baka Scarecrow's actions. He growled and his fist blazed with black fire before calming down, dispelling it, and narrowed his eyes, smelling water and wind chakra, along with something that seemed as if it was a combination of both. Hyutin chakra. It seems that Zabuza has an accomplice and a Uchiha clan member at that. He calculated while several things ran through his head and grew more worried about the female Sasuke, now known as Satsuki. When he saw him as a girl, he thought it was just a messed up henge, only later he discovered it was a genjutsu seal placed on her by the late Uchiha elders behind Fugaku's back to have a male heir, since they, though all female Uchiha, were weak. He snorted that Mikoto, Hanishin and the others were by no way in hell weak. His training regiment was bound to make an academy student mid-chunin by the 3rd year, and so on forth. He thought Satsuki would still be the arrogant ass, but he saw how shy, frigid, proud and kind she was when hanging out with the other teams. She actually met him one day when he was training with Gabe Olg and apologized, calling him Naruto-sama, seeing as he was a clan head, and he observed her for a few more weeks and saw that the arrogance was just a mask like he used to have, and he took a liking to her and helped a bit with her training. It was like as if he was his grandfather himself. The clan head helping his own clan and being strong, it filled him with pride to see his clan back to normal and not arrogant. Right now his protective instincts were flaring like mad and swore if Hinata and Satsuki's innocence were stolen by any of Gato's disgusting mercs, the bloodbath will make even Madara, Uchiha and Hashirama Senju whimper in fear. Naruto-kun, what are your orders? Hanabi stood at attention. He gave the clearing another look before closing his eyes. Saya, Hanabi, Team Sun, Yum, Shikia split up and headed to the bridge in the client's home. Mikoto, Yugao, Kushina, you three clear out every damn thug and that infests Nami no Kuni. He said the last order coldly, getting nods. What about you, Naruto-kun? Ami asked, only to shudder seeing the cold, heartless smirk on her sensei boyfriend's face, and the others saw it and T helped but think. Oh shit. Someone's going to die very painfully. They gulped. I'm going to reveal to this world why you do not piss off the descendant of a man who could level planets with his bare hands. Naruto's hair flashed into a bright neon green, his muscles bulked up a bit, and crimson and black lightning crackled around his now neon green slit eyes, looking over his newly forged blade. Tensa Mugetsu, moonless sky. Those guys are fucked. If Naruto-kun's in legendary mode, that means you're gonna die painfully before getting obliterated. Kushina grinned with glee before taking off towards the borders of Nami no Kuni with Yugao and Mikoto, who were eagerly grinning as well, while the genin took off towards Tazuna's house. Naruto smirked and flew up into the air, scanning around the area for Gato's mansion, and remembered Hinata and Satsuki's chakra signature, and activated his Rinnegan to see them a few 20 miles towards the northeast, and narrowed his eyes, seeing groups of shinobi with foul chakra, and the image of sound and cloud headbands along with rock, fury and aim, making his eye twitch dangerously, not liking this, and with a boom he raced with his Kai aura around him, heating the air from the heat. Hang in there, girls, I'm on my way. I think it's time the world knows who you do not fuck with. He grinned with bloodlust and sped up. The group of people with cloaks of black with red clouds watched him and nodded at each other before following after Naruto to further their plans for the sake of peace. With Team Sun, I am so going to enjoy giving that bitch in Cyclops an ass whipping. Ami grinned viciously, walking with Shikia and the others. They stopped at the docks and saw a pair of sword-wielding thugs strutting toward Tazuna's house with arrogant grins that they did not like. Let's get these pigs. Toki ordered coldly, and they all jumped high, landing on the other side, blocking the two guards' way, getting glares. Out our way. Gato-sama wants to have a few words with Tazuna's son Inari. Waraji threatened, brandishing a katana, and they responded by taking out long swords and bow staffs, getting scared looks from the two thugs, and screamed as the Kunoichi descended upon them like packs of hungry wolves. An. Can anyone say rape? They smirked at the twitching bodies before Toki's eyes changed to a ripple pattern of Naruto's Rinnegan gained from their mating and ripped the man's soul out with the human path and frowned, not liking what she was seeing. Girls, make a bunch of clones and leave them here, Gato is preparing to head toward the bridge. Toki yelled, getting wide eyes from the others before leaving multiple cage buncheons and snapped the necks of the 2 guards and burned the bodies, leaving a confused Inari looking outside with awe. Amazingly, I guess heroes do exist. He muttered before running towards the village only to get caught by several clones, giving him stern looks. Inari whined at the scolding tone as he was carried back inside. Who knew shadow clones can be so annoying? But Naruto looked below to see many camps surrounding Gato's mansion and turned off all emotion. Prepare for death bugs. He plummeted down like a bullet towards the earth. The minor thug looked up with bleary eyes from drinking too much, seeing a glint in the sky. What the hell is that? He half-slurred asked as the glint got bigger, getting confused looks. I don't know if I should be a star or something. This got laughter from everyone until a light filled their vision. What the? He was cut off as the light impacted the ground. Boom. All of Nami no Kuni was startled by a huge mushroom cloud explosion towards Gato's mansion, while those on the bridge had narrowed eyes. What was that? Naruto sent out a pulse of Futon chakra, dispersing the smoke to see hundreds of thugs dead, some split in half from the force, others had their heads torn off like paper. He let out a cold snort. Good riddance, these bastards don't deserve the life they've been given. He mumbled coldly and continued his walk toward the mansion, only to curl an eyebrow seeing the shinobi he detected. I'm going to have to ask you to turn back, Konoha-san. A blonde asked politely, getting a raised eyebrow from him. And I am going to have to ask you politely to give me back my clan members and students before I go to each of your villages and destroy them. He threatened coldly by flaring his chakra and kai, causing them to sweat. Hey, you look like that bastard Yondaime. Kuretsuchi pointed out, only getting a deadpan look from Naruto at the retarded Kunoichi. Do I look like the Yondaime which I be? He drawled in monotone, no emotion at all, getting frowns from the Kumo-nin and Kiri-nin, along with Suzumabachi and her clan members. You do realize kidnapping one of my wives and protege is not something you want to piss me off with. He reinforced his threat by calling out his Susanoo, and they gasped seeing the eyes of Madara. Why you're? Kuretsuchi looked almost pale as a sheet and he smirked darkly. Yes, I am the grandson of Madara. I hope that old fence-sitter hasn't forgotten that dance he had with Madara at Tauji. He grinned a shit-eating grin at Kuretsuchi's blush. I'm sorry, Uchiha-san, but our village needs the Byakugan and Sharingan. Please don't make us kill you. Samui pleaded with him while trying not to eye his body. Naruto looked at them with a deep cold scowl. You little maggots think you can take on an elite jounin when that was barely a fraction of my power. He thundered. Reikage-sama wants these 2 heiresses and he is willing to do any means to gain power for his village. C said coldly, angered at this boy stopping their village from gaining greatness, only to see cold Sharingan eyes boring into his soul. So your village would resort to kidnapping and raping 2 children the same age as me just for power. He looked at them with disgust. Naruto shook his head in disappointment. To think Kumo would stoop this low, it's a wonder of who the real demons are. Humans are the Bijuu themselves. Are you calling us inhuman? Karui shouted angrily. He looked at her with boredom. Did I stutter? Little girl, you think just because you have me outnumbered means you can kill me when you barely have any skill in Taijutsu at all, and yes, I can see that most of you right now only focus on ninjutsu, kinjutsu, jinjutsu, but barely any taijutsu since you think ninjutsu and flashy stuff is more appropriate for battle. Naruto smirked, getting stupefied looks. It doesn't matter if you look like a newly minted jounin. C shot back. That may be partially true, but your villages don't put you into life and death battles against your sensei non-stop to get you that necessary killer instinct true shinobi are supposed to have, and I have already been on more S-rank missions than you have done in your lifetime. They saw all the power, coldness, experience and skill in his eyes, and it made them tremble. And I am also the pseudo-Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, except that beast thought he could control me so I destroyed him, completely meaning he will not be coming back and all of his chakra is mine. They played when hearing this teen jounin destroyed the Kyuubi no Yoko and took its power. That's upsetting the balance of the nations, the leaders won't like this. Kuretsuchi shouted in denial, only getting a quivering eyebrow. Am I supposed to care what others think of me? Your leaders aren't that powerful anymore since they've gotten complacent in their power as cages, unlike the shinobi of Yuzu that is. He looked to his left to see a red-headed woman wearing a battle kimono with behind her all wearing Yuzu headbands. My name is Mito Uzumaki and may I know why you are still alive, Madara? Naruto chuckled. I am not Madara Tauji, Mito Haim. He pointed to his whisker marks getting gasps. Why can't I feel Kyuubi in you? She asked seriously, only getting a frown. He tried to destroy me so I returned the favor. He replied coldly with no remorse, making her lips tighten while feeling sadness, seeing such coldness and malice in someone so young. And it seems you've inherited his hatred and rage. Naruto looked at her with an amused look. You're wrong, this coldness, hate and malice is all me. He grinned fiercely, getting a sad look. She then saw his twitching monkey tail and tilted her head at it, trying to get the cute images out of her head. It's not nice to stare at Uzumaki-sama. Uzumaki teased, getting an indignant huff from Mito, who turned now cold violet eyes toward Kumo, Iwa and Kirinin. Leave Nami no Kuni, you shinobi are trespassing, and I do believe you have two people that do not belong to you. They moved toward their weapons only to freeze, seeing Naruto's shadow clones place blades on their throats with cold, apathetic eyes. You make one move to retaliate and I will sever your heads and send them back to your leader in a box. They played at the threat and now realize not to piss this man, no got off. High will be good. Suzumabachi squeaked in a cute way, feeling his breath on her neck. Raikage-sama will not like this, Uchiha-san. Samui said calmly. I do not believe the Raikage would do something like this since his sister B-chan and little sister Yujito are my fiancés, meaning you are taking orders from someone that is overstepping jurisdiction. He narrowed his eyes at Samui, trying to revert her guilty eyes but couldn't. Hi. She replied in a tone of shame. The bomb swarm jutsu. Naruto turned his head, seeing Jirachi and Jibachi trying to attack him, while Suzumabachi looked stunned at this action. Foolish worms, let me show you how to dance. Mito raised an eyebrow, hearing Naruto's voice turn to Madara's. Let's see how this young Uzumaki-kun does. She thought, watching the two using clan members charge with only to blink in shock when Naruto appeared midway, smashing a fist in the blind one's throat, crushing it and grabbing the other by the throat while watching his sibling's eyes go dead and fall to the ground. Do you want to dance? He clenched the man's throat tighter, getting strangled gasps. Did he? They could hear Naruto's disappointment. He spun, seeing a swarm of bees heading toward him, and smirked. Hyutin. You replicas. Several icy sharp wind blades of Hyutin chakra whizzed through the air, tearing the bees apart and freezing them at the same time. What? Jibachi yelled in a choked voice. Do you really think I would fall for such an underhanded tactic, B-man? He asked in a mocking tone, squeezing tighter with a sadistic grin on his face, seeing his prey struggle. Boss, we got Hinata-chan and Satsuki-chan. He turned his head, seeing his shadow clones appear in a red flash with Satsuki, Hinata and Tsunami, who looked at him gratefully. Thank you, Naruto-san. Tsunami bowed, only for a finger to tilt her chin up into his soft eyes. It's no problem, Tsunami-hime, I despise rapists and I do a very good job of weeding them out back home. Oh, and Nami no Kuni won't have to worry about those mercs anymore since I sent Kushi-chan, Mikoto and Yugao to get rid of them. Tsunami got a stunned look before hugging him, thanking him profusely. Kushi-chan's still alive. Mito blinked in shock and happiness, getting a nod before sniffing him, getting a weird look from Naruto. You and her fucked, didn't you? Mito asked with a pervy grin, getting a smirk in return. Not gonna deny it. He said without fear, getting odd looks from the guys. This has balls. They thought numbly. I damn Konoha team. Jibachi stabbed at Naruto's eye, only for the other's eyes to widen when it went through him like he was intangible. Jibachi cursed and felt his hand gripped and looked into the eyes of Naruto, who was not amused. For that attack your life is forfeit. Jibachi sweated. The air grew dry and Mito saw the plants drying up along with the grass. He can use Shakutin, eh? She thought with an interested smirk. Shakutin. Sajisatsu. Naruto smirked cruelly as Jibachi screamed in pure agony as he dried up like a mummy right before their eyes and suddenly faded away into the wind like dust. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Naruto bowed with a flourish before turning to them. Leave. They nodded and shunshined to report to their respected village on the new threat to their superiority. Naruto Uzumaki. A monotone female voice intoned, and he looked behind him to see a blue-haired angelic lady wearing a cloak with red clouds. She had F-cup breasts, amber eyes and a lip piercing. What is Akatsuki doing in Yuzu no Kuni territory? Mito narrowed her eyes dangerously and unsheathed their weapons in a possible fight. Satsuki-hime, Hinata-hime, go now. Naruto ordered, no argument. But Satsuki was cut off by the narrowed gaze of her mentor. Go now. He ordered forcefully, getting a nod before they were both rationed to the client's home with the others. He turned his gaze back to the Akatsuki group and saw Zetsui of Kusagakure, Haiden of Yugakure, Sasori of Sunagakure, Konan of Omegakure, Didami of Awagakure, and Kakuzu of Takigakure, all S-class in skill and experience and power. We have come to Kyuubi. Haiden drawled with an arrogant smirk on her cute face, getting a chuckle. Did you not hear? Kyuubi doesn't exist in me anymore. Its power, knowledge and chakra are all mine to control. They narrowed their eyes at that. You ruined Leader Sama's plans for peace. Konan accused, coldly snorting. That's really funny coming from zealous ilk like you that are no better than those that despise and do not know what being is like. He shot back, making Konan flinch, and so did the others. Konan had never felt so flustered before. How does this boy do it? He should be weak like all and neglected, so why does this one make her want to submit to him physically and mentally with just his presence alone? Naruto sighed, rubbing his eyes before directing a very deadly Rinnegan-enhanced glare at them that froze their entire bodies and souls. I am going to ask very politely. He began coldly. I am not anymore, only partially, and you little butt-puppies need to learn to stop fucking around with things that mortals like you should stay out of. Conan and the others felt like children in front of him. But this world needs peace. Conan shouted back defiantly only to get a flat cold stare that made her wilt. What did I just say, child? He replied in a tone that a father would give to someone who is about to get a hard spanking. What the fuck you gonna do about it? Hayden said snidely, only getting a cold smirk as Susanoo appeared around him getting pale looks. You were saying Jashin this time. Conan cursed and gave him a final glare. We will have you, Naruto Uzumaki. Conan declared in sunshine away with the others. Don't pursue them, we'll cross paths again. He assured Mito, getting nods before ordering them to stop. Now for Gato and his mansion. He smirked darkly and charged up a Kai orb in his hand colored black with neon green and black lightning sparking. Mito-chan, any hostages inside? Mito shook her head, already sensing no life forces inside. But now I won't feel remorse for what I'm about to do. They watched with wide eyes as a giant beam outstripping a Bijuadama's range fired from the orb. Oh damn. Boom. They grew bulging eyes in Im style as the explosion force blew their hair back before dying down, and Naruto looked and couldn't help it. TFT. He snorted. Naru-kun, what's so funny? Mito asked, annoyed. TFTT. He couldn't hold it and fell down, laughing his ass off, rolling on the ground, cackling like a madman, pointing at their hair, getting raised eyebrows, and looked in the water only to screech in anger and horror. Their hair looked like fucking Medusa, head of snakes. Mito glared at Naruto with murder, seeing the cheeky grin on his face. The look suit you gals. He said this with a troll face, getting more steamed looks. Shinkukami no Arashi. Trollolol. Ha 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 ha. Naruto uo. Naruto cackled as he was chased by Mito Uzumaki and her with bloody murder in their eyes. Get back here and take it like a man. Mito roared furiously, getting a troll face in return. I didn't know you were already into me like that. He grinned wider, seeing their almost red eyes of indignant anger at his trolling. Kushina and Makoto blinked when they saw Naruto getting chased by Mito Uzumaki and her with a troll face. Did Naru-kun really troll the Uzukage, and her Kushina questioned, getting a slow nod from Makoto. TFT. Ha 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 ha. Kushina Uzumaki fell down and laughed her ass off hard, and so did Makoto, especially Satsuki and Hanabi, who saw the whole thing using their. They had no idea Naruto could troll somebody so hard like that. They are so telling this to the elders. Chapter 5. Overwhelming power. Oh Hadakiei. Kakashi froze, hearing a sing-song voice, as did Kiba, and slowly the two began to pale white in fear, though Kiba started whimpering, knowing who that chakra signature belonged to. Of all people, they had to send that baka as our backup. Kiba shouted inwardly, completely and utterly terrified of his former classmate turned Jounin Naruto Uzumaki Namika's son Senju Uchiha, a fucking SSSS rank Jounin in every country with a flee on side order, except for Iwa, who had a capture on side or kill order. It was suspicious to him at how that stupid orphan got to such a level without resorting to some kind of ritual. It was an insult to his alpha pride, and resolved in his mind to show the dope who the real elite was. Who is that Kakashi? Zabuza Mamachi questioned cautiously. Kubikiri Bucho clutched in his one hand, tensed, knowing that chakra levels in ninja weren't supposed to encroach on Biju levels unless they were extremely powerful or a demon. Zabuza, you, someone is coming, and his chakra is abnormally higher than Yagi's Biju form. Haku Mamachi Yuki spoke with a very tense expression, her hands twitching over her pouches of kunai and senbon. Whoever he or she is, they must be at least high cage level to have such chakra, or maybe. No. That can't be. They sent him. Zabuza paled bone white. Zabuza senpai, what's wrong? Sujetsu, female Sujetsu, asked, confused and worried, but was eager for a fight. We will meet again, Zabuza, or should I call you Hanabuza-chan? The mist parted slowly, revealing someone that made them gasp, taking steps back in sudden helplessness and despair. Zabuza's features slowly changed to more feminine and gained a very pronounced bust, legs and ass, while her facial features turned more of a roguelike beauty, and her eyes were now golden yellow with a black pupil. Madara-cha. Haku, Sujetsu, Sona Yuki, Seraful Yuki and Grafia Yuki flinched, knowing who he was as well. Not really, Hanabusa-chan. I merely take after my grandfather in looks, plus as a clan head I have to uphold his legacy along with others. Even though Madara Jiji was a traitor, it was mostly my grandfather Tobirama's fault for taking things too far. Naruto sighed in disappointment at his fanatical grandfather's methods. However, Naruto's bored tone turned cold, deadly and most of all furious. You shitty Haddock Baka and Inu team are in big fucking trouble with Hiashi Kyofu, Tsumheim, Saratobi-sama, Maiko-chan, Kushina-chan, and most of all you are in big fucking trouble with me. Naruto literally snarled with utmost fury, making Kiba piss himself and faint, while Kakashi was rapidly paling, trying not to do the same. So you're the Shinku Seijin no Kami of Konoha. Hey, you don't look tough. Sujetsu snorted, getting annoyed stern looks from Haku, Serafal, Grafia, Sona and Hanabusa, while Naruto pinched the bridge of his nose in annoyance, while a vein was slowly bulging in response to his irritation. Sujetsu Hazuki, little sister to Manjetsui Hazuki, a B rank former chunin of Kurigakure no Sado, approach with caution. Order, Tujutsu is low chunin, ninjutsu high chunin borderline low jounin, due to knowledge in Suiton in your ninjutsu high jounin and jinjutsu is nil besides the jinjutsu release technique and the bunshin no jutsu, yet you are quite easy to anger and tends to fight recklessly and is quite arrogant when in battle, nothing more than a lowly C rank shinobi when flying into a rage. Did I miss anything, Hazuki-san? Naruto coldly quipped with a mocking smirk, making Sujetsu very uneasy as to how the crimson-haired jounin knew all of that. How did you find out that much info about my clan and me? Sujetsu tried to put up a tough front, but it was difficult considering someone was staring at you with cold dark eyes, showing no emotion in them. It's quite easy to get the right information when you show someone their worst fear in an eternal loop jutsu. Hanabusa actually flinched at the casual way the jounin talked about mentally mind-fucking somebody like that. Rest assured, Haddock, you and your student Kiba will be punished for endangering clan heirs for the sake of the mud and your ego. Kakashi flinched and began worrying for his safety. The blade found itself at Naruto's neck and he glanced behind him boredly to see a wooden puppet with the look of a scarecrow with blades dripping with poison aimed at his neck. This was a basic puppet of the Kugutsu technique and Tsunahime used silently and knew that some people who shouldn't be here are on the bridge with them. So the Kazuki sends children and Baki the wind sword just to kill me, huh? He chuckled mirthlessly before his eyes opened, showing emerald green eyes with a very hard annoyed scowl on his face. I do not like having to fight such weaklings. The puppet suddenly exploded into splinters, violently shocking everyone since they didn't see him move. Team. Naruto quickly stepped to the side, avoiding a barrage of poison, then wind, and finally waves of sand before he got annoyed to the point he flew upward out of their range, using Kai much to their shock. Soon 4 people came through the foliage, landing on the bridge, showing they wore Suna headbands. And I see you brought 2 extra number 3 extras for backup. He scanned them stoically, making some of them squirm and shiver underneath his gaze. Mother wants your blood. The cute Redeed spoke stoically only to get an interesting expression from the god. Wow, I knew Suna was incompetent, but to screw up a seal for the one-tail Shukaku is just throwing salt on the wound. My name is Gaia Sabaku, and I demand to know how you know about Fuinjutsu. Her teammates looked shocked that she yelled for the first time, and Naruto gazed into her eyes before a very dark, furious expression etched itself on his face and turned slowly towards the jounin Baki. You. Stupid. Incompetent. Fools. Do you have any idea the fucking ramifications of using a fucking Ichi Shishu Fuin, 1 trigram seal, to seal the Ichibi without putting mental and demonic suppression blocks on to keep the batshit insane beast from driving your student insane? He literally shrieked at them in outrage since Fuinjutsu was something he took very seriously, and to hear how they fucked up an Ichi Shishu Fuin pissed him off very deeply, and his Uzumaki rage was coming out like a raging flame. Baki and Pakura flinched hearing the tamed fury in the Redeed's voice. Never before had they heard so many curses and words used like that. It made even Gaia and Tamari and Kenka blanch and blush. Hey, what's going on here? Everyone turned their heads to see a short midget man dressed in a business suit with 200 mercenaries armed to the teeth standing behind him, getting an annoyed look from Naruto. It seems I didn't kill all of this stupid cannon fodder when I blew up the mansion. He mused out loud, getting wide-eyed looks at that, remembering seeing a green light from the distance, and yelled. That was you? Naruto raised an eyebrow lazily. Yes, it was so. He shrugged indifferently, only to hold his hand up, catching an arrow 1 inch from his face, and lick the purple edge tip with a thoughtful look, and spat out a blackened drop of blood from the tip, scratching his tongue with a laugh. Wow, really a fast-acting neurotoxin. You thought this weak-ass poison used by low-level Kugutsu users would be strong enough to affect me? He laughed in a crazed, bloodthirsty manner, making several piss themselves, while the others were rooted to the ground in fear like the Shinigami was coming after their souls. Hey boss, doesn't that look like that Redeed chick that managed to escape from us before that snake guy came for her? The laughter suddenly stopped, and suddenly Gato and his thugs found themselves the target of a very dark, cold glare from the shinobi, slowly floating back down to the bridge. What was that? I believe I didn't hear you correctly. Asked Naruto in a calm, eerie tone while unclipping his shoulder guards, dropping them on the concrete, causing large-sized craters with each piece of armor falling off of him. We nearly sold that red-haired bitch to for very big money. What you gonna do about it, kid? One of the more bold thugs spat as the last piece of armor fell to the ground with a loud crash, just as Mito and the others heard what nearly happened to Kushina and were extremely furious, but suddenly Naruto gripped his head, feeling a sharp feeling of pain. The kanji for suppression appeared on his forehead before cracking in several places and broke apart, while Naruto continued holding his head in pain until it finally broke. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 theme song. You have finally awakened our reincarnation. Go forth and show the world why the Otsutsuki name will never die. 5 voices spoke within Naruto's mind, and in response his Rinnegan appeared, except everyone saw they had on the concentric lines, and suddenly his forehead split open, showing a third eye with the same design as his now named Tomo Rinnegan, and his hair flattened upon his head making it similar to Kushina's, and lengthened till it was down to his legs, with a few more bangs framing his eyes, while his hair had a few white and black streaks. His cheeks were more slimmer making him somewhat feminine, and when Mito felt his chakra it made her quiver. His chakra is enormous, it's bigger than even Kyuubi's by eons, how can he hold that much power and not explode? She wondered. I hope you're ready to beg for death. His deep echoing tone voiced his words with very deep malicious intent, causing the air to thicken, making the shinobi in the area flinch. There's 200 of us and only one of you. Geto sneered, acting like he was the winner. How very amusing that a lowly little child such as you try in futility to hide the fear growing inside of you. Naruto's blank face had a slowly upturned quirk of his lips showing his dark amusement. Mito-sama keeps everyone back. I think it's time I take my power from Kurama for a test drive. Mito and her Anbu shunshined the others away a fair distance to give Naruto his space. Clenching his fists, Naruto concentrated on the chakra from the Kyuubi, and in a blinding flash of light that robbed everyone's vision for a few minutes, did it die down showing a new Naruto. Oh my. Tsunami breathed out with a red blush as did the other women including Miya and Karasuba. Naruto's hair had 2 spike-like protrusions from his hair, his sandal reached up to his calves' colors, a glowing white leaving his toes visible, while his bodysuit had a white circle symbol near the stomach area. He wore a long-sleeved low-cut Haori jacket with Magatama markings in black and a pattern on the back, with a Rinnegan symbol in red above the markings, his gloves extended to his forearms leaving on his palm and fingers visible. He also had a ring of black spheres floating lazily behind him, while clutched in his hand was a black shakujo, monk's staff, while 2 black rods with a screama stick length were strapped to his hips while he relocated his headband around his waist while his eyes had a silver-white color to them. This is a black and white version of Ashura Naruto's chakra mode. So this is what it feels like when all the hate the chakra accumulated is purged. Gripping his fist causing a small shockwave from unconsciously flexing his Kai aura. So which one of you wants to die first? Everyone could see the silhouette of a white-haired woman with his same features overlapping his with those same menacing eyes. The guy Otsutsuki. Mito muttered loud enough for the others to hear, and Miya looked shocked as did Kushina. Why you mean? She gazed at Naruto's back. Hi, Naruto-chan is the reincarnation of the Otsutsuki family head and her children and grandchildren. Kushina shivered remembering the tales of the woman's power and ruthlessness. Let him and bring me his head. Geto yelled furiously, not seeing the manipulative smile upon Naruto's face, nor the Juubi eye spinning on his forehead, but Mito did and shook her head in dry amusement. Someone got the good genes from Kaguya-chan now, though I wonder what she'll do when she meets the reincarnation of herself and her children. She turned her eyes back and raised an eyebrow up to her hairline, seeing Naruto wasn't moving just standing there arms folded. The Magarashi. Mito felt dread seeing the cruel grin on his face as he slid into a 8-trigram stance. Mito-chan, Matsu-chan place up a barrier. They nodded, creating metal walls using fire and earth chakra. Metal style. Metal wall of forgery. They watched as a wall of metal rose up covering the entire side of the bridge, blocking them from Naruto's view as he completed his rotation. No Hikatsu all killing ash bones, Naruto fired several bone blades from his body and hands towards the incoming mercenary army. Loco Ua warning came too late, and many were stabbed through the stomach, shoulder, neck, larynx, trachea or chest, leaving only 45 of them left unarmed yet frightened. Mito, you can let the barrier down, they aren't a threat any longer. Mito and Matsu slowly let down the barrier and almost gasped seeing blades of bone impaling almost the entire army, but noticed that some of them were still alive. Get up you fools and kill him. Geto shrieked angrily much to Naruto's deep chuckling. What's so funny, brat? Naruto just snapped his fingers. All killing ash bones destroys anything it touches on a molecular level, turning its victims to ashes fitting names don't you think? Geto and several others watched in horror and fear as the downed mercenary slowly turned to ashes, all while screaming in pain. Disappear. Naruto said coldly. Scum like you deserve no sympathy or mercy for your crimes, and for that, your sentence is death. He morphed into a serrated straight while pulling his gunbai from a storage seal and tore into the fleeing thugs. One tried to jump to the waters only for Naruto to backhand slash through his midsection, letting both body parts spill into the waters, staining it red with blood. It was like a dance of death. His gunbai crushed skulls and flattened bodies, his sword was like lightning silver slicing and cutting with such grace and precision, as his hair was the only flicker of red, white and black before you died. Corner him. He won't be able to escape our attacks if we hit him from all sides. a dual axe-wielding thug, yelled, getting crossed agreements before they all attacked from below and above, but Naruto only formed a one-handed ram seal and muttered, "Mokuten. Shinjukai Koten." Before the thugs could scream in horror, massive trees and branches exploded around Naruto, impaling, while the others were crushed as a gigantic forest started sprouting from nowhere, killing the rest of the thugs, leaving only 2 left. The trees slowly vanished back to the earth, revealing the carnage, making Kiba throw up, while Hinata and the others just looked at the scene with grim faces. They may have trained with Naruto, who was the strongest in the village beside the Hokage, but they haven't gone through what he went through, but they pushed down the bile rising in their throats and steel their hearts, since it was never easy killing like Naruto does. Naruto turned his head slightly, hearing Gato trying to run, and without looking, threw the Chikudo, nearly breaking the sound barrier. Shink. Ah. Gato screamed, feeling something pierce his leg, and looked down only to scream in horror due to the sword stabbed all the way through his lower limb and through the concrete, pinning him down. End song. TSK. Now Gato-chan, you have things to answer for, but first sign these papers on signing over your company to Tezuna's family. Naruto replied calmly, deactivating his chakra mode, yet the cool new clothes stayed and he nodded, liking them. "Why, I'll be broke and poor." Naruto just stared down at him boredly. "So what? This is what Wave felt like, and it's your turn to know what it feels like being a slave. Now you either sign or I start mind fucking a bitch." Gato instantly signed, seeing the crazy glint in his eyes, not wanting to get mind fucked by a crazy kid. Naruto just smirked internally. He may have let Gato live, but he never said anything about the villagers. Yeah, he was a boss like that. Taking the signed papers, nodding to himself, giving a smirk. "Well, everything's in order, so now you're free to go. He's all yours, people." Gato paled, seeing a huge freaking mob of angry, pissed off civilians. Tsunami stalked forward and with shocking strength lifted him up into the air by his throat above her head. Well, it's nice to see you, Yukaki's note, Tsunami." Tsunami smirked flirtatiously at Naruto while Hanabusa was shocked. She's the fucking Yukaki's of Kiri. Hanabusa had a right to be scared, since she's the one who even Kasami, Mei and Yuguri feared down to the core in battle. Yes, me and Naruto-kun fought when he was only 10 years old, and he and I both had our own fair share of wounds to tote around, but he saved my life many times for me to count, and when Kai's team left me and dad to raise Inari-chan all on our own, I didn't feel like finding love again. But he managed to return that spark of hope inside me, and now I get to have revenge on this scum for daring to conquer my family's lands." Gato squeaked out pleas for help to Naruto, getting looks from them. Naruto noticed this and looked offended. "Oi. Don't look at me, he's the one you want." They nodded before running off with Gato with several torches, pitchforks and a pineapple. Naruto shuddered before rushing off somewhere with the others, just as a loud agonizing squeal of pain echoed through the wave. Was it him, or did he hear a maniacal cackle of insanity from the skies above? I don't wanna know. Naruto mentally chanted, only to see Hanabi walking toward him with a sultry smile. "So worth it." He grinned inwardly, and soon the forest was echoing with moans and roars of pleasure and lust. Chapter 6, Testing Limits and Meeting New Girls and Rivals. Hanahagakure no Sato. Next day. "Let go of me, dope." Kiba screamed and roared because a very stoic and dark-looking Naruto dragged him by his brown hair through the ground, not taking the Inyazuka air's disheveled, angry sneering at him, nor the pathetic attempts at trying to assert his dominance, flaring such weak killing intent. Be silent, Mud, and Tsume-sama may be lenient for nearly getting Hinata-sama, Satsuki-sama and the client's daughter raped by those disgusting pigs. Naruto said coldly, tightening the grip she had on the immature Genin's hair, making him yelp and whine in pain, while Akamaru sat upon his shoulder looking content while disgusted at her Inyazuka partner. "It's their fault for being so weak that they got captured," roared Kiba, causing the party to stop at the gate suddenly, with everyone being very quiet and still. Naruto's gaze turned into a smoldering inferno, and Kiba realized his mistake a few seconds too late before kissing the ground. Naruto growled fiercely, pressing his foot harshly down on the arrogant sack of his skull for daring to say that. Especially after how traumatized his charges were, and he absolutely despised rapists to the core. Kiba felt fear when a blade being unsheathed was heard by his ears and felt the cold sharp metal poised at the back of his neck. "What was that, bitch? I don't think I fucking heard you right." Naruto grinned fiercely at a visibly pale sweating Kiba. Kushina, Yugao and the girls behind them, especially Mito and her Anbu guards, had wide eyes with blushes. "Oh, you damn foxy hunk, I am so close to tearing your clothes off and riding you like a fucking horse, damn everyone watching." Karasuba roared in her mind, barely keeping her lust and carnal desire in check. Matsu and Kazuhana were giggling with nosebleeds, eyeing Naruto with perverted intentions. Miya, Musubi and Yumi were sighing dreamily, much to Kushina's irritation and Mito's giggling, but held a blush upon the Yuzukage's cheeks. I am telling the truth." Kiba whimpered pitifully, getting a disappointed stare from Akamaru at her former partner's sexist views. "You threatened to take Satsuki Heim, Hinata Heim and Tsunami Heim, as if they were some kind of sex toys." Naruto spoke this time in a very bored monotone that put even Kushina on edge from how detached it sounded, cold and dark. Naruto pressed his thumb down on his index finger, causing a crack sound to echo around them, making Kiba flinch. Satsuki, however, watched this with morbid fascination. "So you have no complaints if I humiliate you and had a time right now?" Kiba and Kakashi struggled quickly, not wanting to be at the mercy of the powerful Saiyan. "Naruto-kun, that's not needed." Yumi frowned sternly and Naruto just cracked his finger. "I am a Konoha not an Yuzu nin, Yumi-san, despite me being an elite jounin. I still despise this place." Naruto's mouth twitched down into a slight frown, eyes morphing into the Sharingan, unconsciously causing Mito and Yumi to twitch at his aura, turning from peaceful to hateful in a second. "I know Hokage Jiji will die soon. He told me he only has but 4.5 years left till his body and heart fails him." Naruto hit Kakashi and Kiba in their necks, knocking them unconscious so they wouldn't hear anything he didn't want them to hear. "Then Naruto-kun, couldn't you do something about expanding his lifespan?" Hinata asked in a sad tone, feeling for her love, but Naruto shook his head softly. Hokage Jiji-sama is so tired he hides it very well for no one but me to see it clearly in his soul. He's been through 3 wars, spent years being Hokage, lost his wife to Kurama's rampage, and forced back into office to keep me safe and this village from falling apart. The stress is getting to him, he feels that the Chunin exams may be his last reign as Hokage." Naruto sighed, not feeling cooperative, picked up Kakashi and Kiba and dragged them through the dirt in full sight of everyone, getting horrified gasps and venomous sneers from some, much to Mito's displeasure, while Karasuba's hand twitches around the hilt of her Nadachi. "What do you think you are doing, demon brat?" Naruto stopped at hearing that remark from the crowd and turned his head directly left towards a bunch of pink-haired men that made his eyes narrow in displeasure, and it was visible through his voice. "Speak up, children, I have no time to waste for your petty hatred." Naruto snapped with an agitated tone, "You think you can walk around our village like you're some kind of big shot and that you're untouchable?" Hisashi Haruno sneered arrogantly, strolling up to the young elite jounin, who felt his emotions starting to leak out. "If you think I am that weak, controllable idiot, your slut of a daughter hit on, I will make sure the Haruno clan ends up missing a clan head." Hisashi Haruno. Naruto challenged with a cold dark smirk, causing Hisashi and his fellow Haruno clansmen to pale, while others gasped loudly at that threat. Even Mito and the Yuzunin did. "Expect for the Hyuga and Senju clans to join in the fun as well." Toki Senju sneered coldly, cracking her knuckles threateningly as her chakra flared out in a forest green aura. Naruto Uzumaki, the civilian council dem, the arrogant pig mask that appeared, was going to say, but before he could, Naruto flicked his head slightly and all of a sudden his head exploded like a rotten tomato, getting horrified screams and yells from everyone, plus green and pale faces of horror and revulsion. Karasuba blinked in slight shock and surprise. There was no chakra in that finger flick, Mito-chan. It was pure raw strength. Yumi and Musubi looked disturbed at how Naruto didn't react to killing Anbu so carelessly. All he did was just crack his finger with his thumb boredly. "That's surprising. It seems my physical strength has increased to a higher pinnacle. Usually my finger flicks would give a mild concussion, boulders shattered as did bones and organs liquefy." Naruto ignored everything around him. Suddenly his ears twitched before shifting to the side where a blur passed by, where he was revealing it was the same pig mask Anbu, and looked back to see the headless corpse fade away into an illusion. "Only one person I've heard about has been able to do that." Naruto turned his head regarding the brown-haired female Anbu that was still alive, looking her up and down with a slight impression, but impassive. "Yuko Kurama Uzumaki. Jinjutsu Sasei no Megami. S rank, borderline low SS rank. A veteran from the 3rd Shinobi War, could have been SSS rank if you actually killed someone. Known for being able to use any Jinjutsu, including planting double, triple or quad layer Jinjutsu on even S rank shinobi. Very impressive, says here you were the next Toka Senju. Very impressive." Yuko stared at her Uzumaki nephew with a slight frown. She especially wished he didn't try to kill her so uncaringly. It's not her fault she has to follow orders from those bastards. "Why did you almost kill me, nephew?" Yuko narrowed her eyes sternly, getting a blank look at that response, only getting the crack of his fingers signaling his boredom, but that action made Yuko's eyes crinkle at how detached he looked, more so than their Anbu. "Not my fault you were putting on the arrogant facade, Yuko Baba." Naruto drew with dry humor, cracking his finger reflexively. Something Yuko noted seemed to be a quirk, but also an intimidation factor was what she thought. "I am not an old brat." Yuko growled with a tick mark showing how dominant her Uzumaki traits were. Naruto just looked bored. If the shoe fits, Yuko's temper grew at his shrug, as if her anger didn't faze him. Yuko took deep breaths, calming herself down, but then noticed something that made her eyes widen slightly, but narrow in annoyance. Kushina Uzumaki. Well, if it isn't little Yuko-tan." Kushina smirked maliciously, walking up beside her king, acknowledging her fellow Uzumaki with a nod, but glared blankly. "Never did I expect for one of my fellow Uzumaki sisters to become a civilian council lapdog." Yuko flinched at the accusation. It was worse because she knew that such words were true, but she consoled herself to serve Konoha regardless of attachments. She also resolved to change her nephew's views on Konoha so he can accept his role for the greater good. She blinked when Naruto walked past her. Hey, Yuko suddenly coughed and hacked for air because of the sudden increase in pressure on her throat and body. Naruto stopped midway from her, turning a shadowed face in her direction, his regular eyes now a mix of the Rinnegan and Iron no Mangekyo. You misunderstand the position you are in, Yuko Obama. You may be nearing SSS rank status, but you lack that killer instinct, the desire to fight powerful opponents that go to any means to kill you. I can fight on par with a Hachibi alone, and I am fast approaching Kurama's level of combat. It'd take someone of equal strength and power to come close to putting me on the brink of death. You're just not entertaining enough, Yuko Kurama Uzumaki. At least you didn't go insane from just 2% of my killing intent. That's a point in my book. Yuko found herself re-evaluating her Uzumaki nephew and then realized to her embarrassment that her silver-green edged panties underneath her Anbu pants were sticky and wet on her crotch. Kushina smelt the arousal, fear and lust from her, the half Kurama half Uzumaki Anbu, and chuckled, leaning down to Yuko's level. Just to let you know, Naruto-kun's extremely hung and knows how to work a girl over, especially Mikoto. Get your head out of the council's ass and show you your to lapdog. Then maybe he'll consider making you see stars. Kushina finished with a perverted chuckle and bound off after her king, smirking cheekily at a red-faced Yuko. Glad her Anbu mask covered her face and retreated towards the council room. Council chambers. Naruto sat in his seat as the Namikaze clan head, Mikoto sat in her Uchiha head seat on his left and Kushina in the Uzumaki clan head seat, while Toki sat above him in the Senju clan head seat and were currently talking with Tsume Inyazuka, the mother of Kiba, who right now was very pissed off. In fact, Naruto-sama, on behalf of the Inyazuka clan, I humbly apologize for whatever transgressions and discomfort my heir has caused you. Tsume made to bow, but Naruto stopped her softly. There's no need to bow, Tsume-chan, we're all friends and comrades here, besides your clan shouldn't have to apologize for a waste of space like Kiba. Tsume stared at him and blinked owlishly before blushing at that warm, a melting smile. Perhaps we can talk about an alliance later, Lord Namikaze. Naruto smiled about accepting only for Satsuki to burst in and jumped behind her mother, who looked startled a bit and worried. Satsuki, what is the meaning of this? Uchiha-sama's a female. Put her in the craw. Give us more Uchiha weapons. Breed her and her mother, let's get the Manbu. Naruto jumped up and roared, shut the fuck up, no one touches my charger, face my wrath. His hair stood straight up, ominously spiky and eyes turning cold neon green, with no pupils, lightning sparking around him. Kushina and Mikoto followed up with the other clan heads joining Naruto's side. The Anbu looked at one another and then at the civilian council that was still corrupt, it seems. We of the council demand that Uchiha Satsuki and Uchiha Mikoto breed more Uchiha for this our village. The council jumped up as if they had no fear in their eyes, considering they were civilian clan veteran Rusty Jounin from the Third Great Shinobi War, yet that small smidgen of fear was there. You demon brat. Ever since you got those abilities from that damn golden-haired bastard, you've been undermining every single tradition we've built upon this village, and I for one am sick of it. Genma Saddam roared, wearing a grey guy in pants, beady black eyes, bold with a grey bandana tied in the back. His friend Sound Tendo nodded, glaring at Naruto, who just powered down, suddenly looking bored, his features turning back to normal, getting raised eyebrows from Kushina, Mikoto, Tsume and Satsuki. Pretty old-fashioned, aren't you, Saddam? Genma, Tendo Sound, Iro Hapasai, at least your wife and sister are. Very exotic to look at. Naruto appeared behind Nodoka and Kadachi, leaning between them with a flirtatious smile that'd make a succubus jump his bones and an incubus glow with pride and jealousy. Much to Kushina and Mikoto's sniggering at the pink flushed cheeks at the semi-prude females. Uchiha-sama, I'm a married woman. Nodoka protested a bit weakly. Kadachi tried not to show that such charming eyes were making her nipples harden unconsciously from that. Sultriness made her sound like a virgin girl coming into maidenhood. Oh. Naruto pouted, but he made it look more roguishly handsome and cute too. What does pork belly san have that I don't? He dramatically exclaimed, making Nodoka sputter out answers, but they sounded only half-hearted, while Genma stared in shock at how his faithful wife was falling for the younger, more handsome teen's honey, so seductive words it made him angry and would have lunged at the brat if laced glares from Kushina and Mikoto didn't freeze him. Two diamonds such as yourself shouldn't allow yourself to not be allowed to shine brightly by these dirty, corrupting rags. Kadachi moaned slowly, feeling his chakra caress her body in such a manner her undergarments were getting moist and wetter. Ayana Uchiha-sama. Ito. Nodoka mumbled shyly, poking her fingers getting wide and I'm round eyes the size of dinner plates from Shikaku, Chaoza, Hiashi, Kushina, Mikoto, Hiruzen, Danzo, Yugao, Satsuki and everyone else, while Hapasai guffawed loudly in laughter at looks on Genma, Kuno and Sun's face. Did you know your husband was thinking of making an arranged marriage between Ranchin and the Earth Daimyo's oldest son? Naruto this time smirked fiercely, seeing Nodoka's face flush with ungodly rage. Genma, seeing this, tried to make a break for it like a coward, only to run dead smack into a clothesline from Naruto. Oh man. He mockingly fell down on his back before laughing in Genma's face, getting sniggers from the Shinobi Council. Nodoka approached with her ancestral family sword slowly unsheathed, making Genma, Sound and Kuno sweat. And no chance. CC, calm down. What I did was for the best of the clan and the art. He nearly screamed, earning a derisive laugh from Nodoka, a laugh that was dark and cold and full of motherly feminine rage. I cannot. I believe I was so naive to think you were a misguided soul back when we got married, but now I have tried too many times to forgive your mooching, sexist, manipulative, lying ways. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the maniacal, borderline psychotic grin, looking at Genma, shaking his head with false pity. I'd add Kaiten and Raiten chakra to the swing just to make sure he can't contaminate the gene pool any longer. Nodoka blinked at her growing crush's words, feeling a jolt in excitement. Genma wasn't going to let his wife chop off his balls. No way in hell was he gonna let his lineage die with Ranchin, his ungrateful girly daughter of his. Genma team I will be taking in Ranchin, considering the team she is on have questionable morals, like for example why Ranchin has always come home with bruises and blood caked on her knuckles and fingernails. Ryoga Hibiki, Moose no Ketsuzoku and Akane Tendo, ring any bells? Smirking at Genma's face, but sound made him scowl in disgust at the spineless, manipulative fool. You call yourself a father, makes me wonder if this is the Gamma team's illegitimate child, considering he went to whorehouses all over the elemental nations, getting drunk and fucking prostitutes endlessly. Kushina snorted and spoke, of course he did, King Sama. It's why Minato always was extra vicious when he caught Jiraiya team trying to put him in those disgusting porn books that's all about sex and no drama. The perverted bastard always thought with his dick and balls, which would have made a chipmunk look huge. Naruto snorted with mirth, but turned his head hearing the sound of a blade being unsheathed to see a team of Anbu surrounding Genma, who stood up looking smug with Kuno and Sound. Yuko Obama, it seems your brazen arrogance seems to be overriding your self-preservation instincts. Do I need to show you why I am called the second coming of Madara? I assure you I will make you wish our clan's healing factor would make you wish you didn't have it. Yuko grimaced at the cold threat, and the promise made even her want to back down. Naruto Meigo Satum Sama is needed to keep Konoha up just like the other civilians, and I understand you do not show quarter or allow people to walk over you, but for the sake of the village, please walk away, grandson. Naruto narrowed his eyes even more coldly than normal. I will not allow one of my former classmates that I helped train just to satisfy this piece of trash who I am going to kill at the slightest inkling from Ranchin. He is doing something that me, my clan or Ranchin doesn't like. Okage-sama, I wish to be divorced from Genma Bakugari. The Satum clan does not wish for such a disgusting man like my former husband to sully its honor more than he's already done. Nodoka announced, much to Yuko's shock. Didn't Nodoka know the ramifications of this action? I approve of Nodoka Satum. Would you like to establish your alliance with the clan heads? Nodoka nodded fervently, looking towards Kushina and the others hopefully. The Namikaze clan accepts Nodoka Satum's proposal for alliance. Naruto announced with an easygoing grin, making Nodoka's stomach feel warm all of a sudden, and for some reason it made her giddy also and more young than she looked. The Hyuga clan accepts Lady Satum's proposal for alliance. The Aburam clan accepts Adam-san's proposal for alliance, Shibi said politely yet with a hidden smile. The Akamichi clan accepts Adam Dono's proposal for alliance. Chaoza boomed jovially, earning a soft smile from Nodoka and Kodachi. Troublesome, the Nara clan accepts Adam Dono's proposal for alliance. Naruto, Inochi and Chaoza chuckle at Shikaku's laziness. The Kurama clan accepts Adam-chan's proposal for alliance. Yuka Kurami cheered before going back to leering at Naruto, who merely sweat-dropped something which was rather comical with his monotone expression. The Sasaki clan accepts Adam-chan's proposal for alliance. Yurei Sasaki chirped, looking like a natural Yamato Nadeshiko, golden red fire-haired version of the Keno Himejima from High School DxD with fiery orange reddish eyes, wearing an elegant crimson-orange yukata with symbols of black and red phoenixes, adorning the front and back with a shocking O-cup, much to the twitching eyes of Kushina. Tsume, Yuka, Nodoka, Kodachi and Mikoto looking at their own breasts with pouts. The Uzumaki clan accepts No-chan's proposal for alliance. The Sarutobi clan accepts Nodoka Satum's proposal for alliance. The Shimura clan accepts Adam Dono's proposal for alliance. The Yamanaka clan accepts Adam-san's proposal for alliance. You cannot do this to me, Nodoka-chan. Genma bellowed, his friend Sound Tendo nodding in agreement, glaring at the auburn bun-haired woman with his patented demon head illusion, only for Naruto to insert himself between Nodoka and barring Genma, Sound and Tadawaki path, causing the three to pause. You touch Nodoka Haim or Kodachi Haim, you will deal with us. Naruto said coldly and fiercely, an elaborate okatana materializing at his hip, getting a gulp from sound. Genma snorted, dropping into a standard two open-handed stance, with the left cocked back and the right forward. Tadaaki attempted to mimic a kendo stance, which was rather poor for a retired chunin. Yuko was going to berate her grandson when suddenly Genma suddenly vanished like a ghost, while Tadaaki and Sound charged head-on at Naruto, switching positions, trying to confuse the young Jounin's eyesight. Deciding what to do, Yuko and her Anbu joined them, earning a sigh of annoyance from the young clan head. Hahaha. Ikuso. Yuko paled pasty white, seeing the demonic bloodthirsty grin on her nephew's visage and an aura of red flecked black, practically radiating killing intent. BBZBT3 Ost. Dynamic battle. Naruto vanished like an afterimage, shifting in several places like there were multiple images of himself approaching with that same bloodthirsty gaze. Most of the Anbu got disoriented, looking back and forth, rapidly trying to find the real one. Where is he? Yuko barked, not seeing a shadow appear behind her. Her senses flared up, suddenly ducking just in time to avoid heel roundhouse, only to realize it was a feint disguising a grab for her throat. Ack. Damn it was a feint. Smirking, Naruto flung Yuko to the side, embedding her in the wall, only to faintly hear the sound of a clone popping. Shifting sideways, dodging downward slash, then backing up, avoiding a punch, only to raise an eyebrow, feeling his cheek gain a thin cut that barely bled. Futon chakra, huh? This got troublesome already. He said to himself, feeling Tadaaki behind him. Naruto sidestepped a multitude of strokes, just barely shifting out of the way, pissing Tadaaki off at this vile cur, not paying attention to his superior. Tadaaki-style sword technique. Razor edge. Tadaaki's katana buzzed with the aura of a mini chainsaw, sun shining in range. Tadaaki slashed down at where Naruto was, only to miss him, floating from the shockwave, as if he weighed nothing. Your dance moves are too slow. The samurai wannabe narrowed his eyes in suspicion at the exact words Madara Uchiha said when he brutalized his team when they were little. Your Yumi-sen does not disguise your smell of booze, stink and women, asshole. Roared Naruto, spinning around, catching a punch aimed at his head from Genma, who looked startled, only to gag from a foot lodged in his gut and grabbed by his collar and thrown into Tadaaki. Spinning on his foot, he kicked a rat-masked Anbu in the face, causing his nose to crack and the mask to shatter. One Anbu tried to backstab Naruto, only to meet the same fate as the downed Anbu, knocking the others over. Naruto turned around, curb-stomping Rat's face in with a crunch, much to their horror. He catched the flat blade of a tanto aimed at his neck by a lion-masked Anbu, snapping it in two, elbowing him in his throat, then a knee to the chest, knocking the wind out of him, only to scream in agony from his arm, getting twisted sharply in one direction, and then the other twisting around. Naruto kicked Turtle in the chest, knocking him through the table next to Kushina, who raised an eyebrow. Tossing Rad over his hip, Naruto spun roundhousing Bear and then Gecko, snapping their necks. Naruto's clothes suddenly switched to a pair of black leather pants, combat boots and a sleeveless black vest with silver buckles in the front, showing off his muscles and chest with the fingerless gloves as he continued to whoop their asses. Ahahaha. What's the matter, am I becoming too much for you? Sound whimpered, dangling from Naruto's grip as she stood upon broken, crippled bodies and even dead corpses like a conqueror, and shut Sound up by throwing him into the wall, cratering it. Turning his gaze to Genma and Tadaaki, looking battered and bruised, Yuko stood strong still, but she was looking at Naruto with a different look. Is that all you have? Please try harder. Naruto taunted, spreading his arms mockingly. Wesker's taunt from MVC, sending Genma into a bellowing rage. He suddenly turned into a huge panda, stunning Naruto until he pulled out a bamboo stick, waving it mockingly at Panda Genma, who grew a tick mark. Those panda-kun want bamboo. Kushina and Tsume bust a gut, laughing their asses off at the comical expression on Genma's face. Even Yuko looked like she was a step away from laughing herself to death. GGGGHHHH. Panda Genma roared, swiping at Naruto ferociously, only to get poked in the nose by the bamboo for every miss, pissing the transformed retired Chunin even more. Electric Wind God Fist. Genma's head snapped up along with his body from the lightning-enhanced uppercut. Naruto wasn't done, reaching forward, grabbing the panda's foot tightly, and slammed the fat animal human into the floor again and again, getting roars of pain and pleading that went ignored. Catch. Tadaaki screamed when Naruto threw Genma's fat panda form at him, causing both of them to crash. Get up. And fight. Their eyes widened, seeing a madly grinning Naruto dashing for the downed Genma and Tadaaki till Yuko got in the way, flipping through hand seals. Suiton. Sujin Heki. Naruto stopped halfway away from the large circular water barrier, with a wider grin and a tick mark growing on his forehead. You must love getting in my way, dog. Yuko frowned, seeing him bare his teeth at her with chakra and kai manifesting, causing his muscles to bulge. If it is to protect someone I owe a life debt to, then so be it. Naruto frowned in disappointment, a life debt with this piece of trash. It seems I am going to have to beat humility and a sense of duty to my family, more than Yuko Kurama Uzumaki. Scowled Naruto, making Yuko sweat, switching to another seal, making the water wall electrify. Naruto growled in annoyance. Do. You. Fucking. Think this weak-ass barrier will fucking stop me, bitch. Recow her rending light supremacy. Everyone gaped when he punched a hand through the floor, causing a multitude of rainbow-colored kai beams rain down from above, piercing through the ceiling, causing Yuko to scream in a high-pitched tone until suddenly it flickered out. End song. Naruto Musuko, that's enough. Naruto's head snapped up in surprise hearing that familiar voice. Goku-sensei. Goku stood in front of Yuko beside Vegeta, Bulla, Pan, Gohan, Trunks, Goten, Pan, and who was the blue-haired girl? Hey, who's the blue-haired chick? How about a flasher? Krillin quietly looked to the side to avoid laughing his ass off at Vegeta, and Bulma's expression till 18 smacked him over the head, looking equally amused. Skimpy? Fuck no. How about teal carpet? Bulla felt a breeze between her legs under her skirt and flushed red, seeing her teal-colored thong with pink edges dangling from his finger, getting a blank-eyed look from Vegeta, who was wondering how the hell did he not see that. Bulla, those were mine, why the fuck are you wearing them? Marin demanded angrily of a sweating Bulla, while Krillin facifaulted and 18 facipumped at the proverbial powder keg about to go off. Well, this Naruto guy seemed pretty cool, and I wanted him to become interested in me. Bulla admitted, much to Naruto's surprise at her bluntness. It also came to a surprise when surprisingly Launch, Aoki, Marin and Pan blushed suddenly. Launch doesn't actually like Tien completely, she just sees him as a good friend and finds ways to try and embarrass him in certain situations. Besides, she has found a way to split her good side and bad side apart. The blue-haired Launch will be known as Aoki, and the blonde is Launch. You barely even met him, Bulla, so why would he show interest in you? Launch said snidely, causing the tension to intensify when they glared at Launch than each other. Naruto, Goku and Vegeta, however, sweat dropped at the killing intent rising from them. Hey Gaki, I challenge you. Krillin declared, suddenly only getting a bored deadpan expression, which was surprising he could do that at the same time. You're not worth my time. I wonder if your balls are shriveled up raisins by now. Okay, it's official. Launch like Naruto even more with an insult like that. Hey, hanging around Saya will do that to you. Krillin growled with a red face. Hey, take that back, brat. He demanded comically, only to get a condescending look instead that made Vegeta want to hug the brat, but held it in, but did see Naruto as a potential king of Saiyans, plus he knew how to trash talk and throw insults, like it was nothing now that earned him a plus in his book. I'm sorry, brat, I didn't know the nursery allowed midgets in the building. Yamcha twisted around awkwardly, trying not to laugh his ass off. Tien and Chiaotzu snickered at the comical expression on Krillin's face, since his height was a sensitive fact for him. At least I've got a daughter who is not going to be dating you at all. Naruto looked at Krillin dully, even Vegeta, Goku, Trunks and Gohan looked at Krillin like he was an idiot. 25 times. Naruto muttered, freezing everyone except Krillin. Yamcha looked at Naruto with burning jealousy. What was that? I have dated Toki, Hanabi, Mikoto, Kushina and several other girls that became my mates after screwing for like how many times? I lost count 25 times in a single day with no breaks. Shrugging his shoulders absently, not seeing Krillin's jaw crash to the ground along with Trunks, Piccolo, Bulma, Bulla, Chichi, Launch, Aoki, Pan, Marin, 18, Vegeta, Yamcha, Tien, Chiaotzu, and every male within hearing rage. SSSA, WHWW what? Goku sputtered with shock while Kushina and Mikoto blushed, poking their fingers together shyly. King Sama's stamina knows no bounds, Goku-san. Mikoto commented with a nervous laugh from the glares sent at them from Pan, Bulla, Launch and Marin, while Aoki had a major nosebleed. How big is he? Aoki blurted out suddenly, looking at each other with grins. Mikoto and Kushina parroted, 18 inches and still growing. Bulla and Launch suddenly had the case of rape as looking at him. Pan blushed pink all over, poking her fingers shyly at the thought of doing that with her crush. Marin especially felt herself becoming wet down there. I really hate you. Yamcha growled, only getting a shrug of indifference in return. It's not like Yamcha or his buddies could do jack shit about it. He was many times more powerful and skilled than them, and that was a fact. Being as powerful as he was, you could do a lot of shit and get away with it, considering many are too afraid or concerned about their own lives to challenge him in a fight to the death. Then do something about it. Naruto butted heads with Yamcha with a maddening grin, causing the man to sweat from the bloodlust pressing down on him. Boy. I want another spar, brat. Vegeta growled, butting in the conversation. Naruto merely bared his teeth in anticipation. I'll take the both of you on, Vegeta. Vegeta grinned fiercely at that proclamation. Hey, I want in on this fight too. Krillin demanded, feeling left out only to be on the receiving end of an annoyed Naruto and Vegeta. This off badly. That pissed off Krillin to the point he jumped at Naruto, wrapping his legs around his neck, comically trying to slam him only to pale from the grip on his collar and the evil glint in Goku's student's eyes before he screamed, being spun in a rapid circular motion. Ring around the pockets full of posy. Where he'll land no one knows. Marin facipumped at her papa's stupidity at messing with Naruto-kun like that, only to blush at her inner words. So let's find out Naruto's seismic toss. Or ai. Ooh. And like a rocket Krillin shot out into the sky smashing through the ceiling again vanishing into a twinkle in the clouds. Nice arm throw Naruto-san. 18 commented in amusement getting a giggle from Marin, a snort from Bulla and Pan and a huff from Chichi and Bulma. King-sama, who are these peasants? Kushina asked in a sickeningly sweet tone, making Yuko whimper since she was the closest to Kushina at the moment. Peasants Bulla, Aoki, Launch, Marin and Pan parroted in equal tones of anger and annoyance. Kushina looked at them boredly. Yes, peasants who do not deserve gazing upon King Sama's magnificent body except his queens. Goku, Vegeta and Piccolo sniggered at the huge sweat drop Naruto had. If he's the king and you're the queen, then why is it you can hardly keep up with him in bed, Miss Tomato? Pan shot quipped causing several people to pale and blanch and slowly hid under their desks. Naruto sweat dropped even bigger. Pan-chan, that word is taboo to Kushina-chan, he commented mentally. Kushina-chan said. She obeyed, stopping the enormous killing intent building up obediently. What exactly brings you guys here? He asked looking from Goku to the others who blushed sheepishly. We wanted to meet my knucklehead husband student and see what he was like, judging from what we've seen you're a lot more calmer than someone expected of Broly's lineage and mature as well. Naruto shrugged at Chichi's answer. Being forced to grow up quicker than normal because of scum like this. Gives a swift kick to a barely awake Genma and Tadaaki with no remorse, can do that to you. Vegeta growled looking at the arrogant injured humans, scum like this don't deserve having someone like a Saiyan around to protect them, Naruto. Piccolo nodded even though he wouldn't have harmed an innocent child who had such a beast within him despite being evil back then. I'm surprised you haven't turned into a worse lunatic than Broly going on a killing spree. Trunks said with a frown, only getting a dark smirk in response. It's not like these worms pose a threat to me, considering I haven't truly found someone that can make me go all out or stand equal to me besides Goku-sensei and Vegeta Oyaji. Plus I only kill when these insects get the nerve to try and attack what is mine. I have very creative methods for causing someone pain, but considering how Goku-sensei stopped me from beating the shit out of my clan member Yuko for protecting that fat-ass Genma team which I had under control at the moment. He deadpanned lastly at a blushing Goku earning a snigger from Vegeta and Gohan. Demon brat, who are the girl? A civilian barged in pompously only to lose his head in a shower of gore from 2 Kai blasts taking his head and body. Everyone looked to see Naruto and Vegeta's palms smoking. What? The mongrel was asking for it, both shrugged with superior smirks and fist bumped. Goku groaned, I thought you were more like Naruto Musuko. The Saiyan god whined getting an eye roll from Naruto. I am a lot quieter than you Goku-sensei and Sarutobi-sama. What should be Haddock bastard and Inyazuka bastard's punishment for endangering my charge? Naruto said in a chilling tone and frosty eyes aimed at a now awake Cyclops and smelly mud. Haddock gets demotion to Chunin with gate guard duty, Sharingan sealed off until the Chunin exams, and he will be sent to Ibiki to straighten his arrogant attitude out. Kakashi sweated and paled intensely while Naruto purred dangerously. That is satisfactory to me. Otherwise I would have asked Ibiki and Anchan to teach me a few things when it comes to torture. Several shuddered imagining a mix of Naruto, Anko and Ibiki. As for Kiba and Yazuka. From what I've heard his attitude and constant unwanted advances on your charge and Miss Hinata are disgraceful, so I will let Tsume-san judge him. Tsume glared at her son coldly, for your actions Kiba I've decided since you see all women as breeding material and housewives, you will be sent to Fang country to become the husband to the Fang daimyo's daughter Marahin Strauss. Kiba paled bleach white and began shaking fearfully with whimpers shaking his head rapidly. He heard of how cruel, sadistic and perverted the Fang daimyo's daughter was that she was responsible for going overboard on punishing her servants and even men betrothed to her. Mother please no I'm sorry I won't do it again. Kiba begged except Tsume and Naruto had no sympathy for him. Then you should have known what the consequences of your actions would be, Inyazuka Kiba. Karasu Raven, Higami Fire, Goddess. 2 black-haired women appeared, one having a raven mask and the other having a mask of a flaming woman's face. Hi Naruto-sama. Seal off Kiba's chakra and get him prepped for transport to Kiba no Kuni. His bride awaits him. Naruto smirked coldly watching in satisfaction as Kiba was dragged kicking and screaming to the heavens, leaving some mentally scarred people. Naruto you make me so proud hahaha. Vegeta cackled in glee getting a smirk from Naruto, I aim to please my fellow king. Marin blushed, I think I almost came she now wanted to know Naruto a lot more after this and hoped he would let her. Also you know Maruhome. Even if I can have more than one mate, I love them and treat them all equally. He said softly vanishing in a swirling vortex giving them one last smile, leaving several blushing females looking very contemplative. Who was Goku's student and why did he have to be so majestic and perfect? Chapter 7 Naruto-kun please tell me if this is correct or not. Hiruzen asked bluntly, handing a file to his surrogate grandson, who was merely dressed in a black bodysuit with his headband and shinobi sandals around his neck, letting his hair not be so restricted, and had the back tied in a spiky ponytail. He was sitting with his Jiji at the desk helping him with the reports, etc., doing it automatically with practice since he was a clan head, meaning he had practice in doing so. Plus there were shadow clones of him and Hiruzen filtering them all correctly and cautiously, since the civilian council so far in the past week has been plotting and trying to push laws made by them to limit the power and freedom of shinobi, mostly targeted at those like Naruto, who had too much power for their liking. The bunch of idiotic swine was all Naruto called them, rightfully so. Big-headed bigots would be the secret wording in the old Sandame's ears. Naruto sighed looking down at the file from his so-called godfather's spy network. He had been looking to confront the dishonorable dickhead on what reason he had to try and make him into a martyr. Paying attention to the file, he narrowed his eyes upon seeing it was a request, but not any normal request. The West is requesting permission to be here at the Chunin exams. He started slowly looking at Hiruzen from the corner of his eye, getting a slow nod with a serious look. Hashirama-sensei once said even he himself did not dare approach the West due to the bloodier than normal civil wars of the Empire against the warlords, wars that made the ones here in the East look like a water balloon fight. Samurai there, especially the adept ones, could give an experienced of Kakashi's caliber a fight for his life. The ninja, however. Hiruzen trailed off with a shiver, getting a raised eyebrow, feeling him shake with apprehension and awe. What of the shinobi and nobles? Mira-chan has told me her rivalers is Scarlet and her twinners a Nightwalker, trained in the West as samurai, and could fight on pair with Salamander Hanzo in his prime. From what I heard of them, I have yet to find anyone kunoichi or shinobi that could last more against me. Plus one emperor. Or empress's personal guards. Ragna the Blood Edge has me intrigued. Naruto spoke slowly, showing the picture of a white spiky-haired woman with a massive bust, outstripping Tsunade Senju with heterochromia eyes and a somewhat tomboyish scowl and a big folded blade that looked much like a scythe. Hiruzen blanched seeing that picture. Oh, her Naruto-kun, now of all times your instincts call out to a woman who beat the hell out of Nidame and Shadame-sensei for saying something bad about her hair without breaking a sweat as a teenager. Hell, Tsunade, my student, tried to take on Ragna the Blood Edge in her prime, thinking she was superior to her, and got her ass handed to her so hard she hated any ninja or samurai that came from the West where saw as succumb to her. I had never been so disappointed in Tsunade's childish behavior, especially for a kunoichi of her caliber. Naruto palmed his forehead, shaking his head, and she's my godmother. Oh brother, just wait till she finds out I'm the clan head of thine Madara's grandson, that'll make her have an ulcer. Hiruzen groaned at that realization. Tsunade was still arrogant even to this day and didn't like having her opinion challenged unless someone cowed her into submission. Oh well, it's not like she can do jack shit to me if she thinks she can cause trouble in this village over some stupid tirade just because she got her obnoxious drinking fat ass handed to her. She has another thing coming, plus I'll be getting my pound of flesh once I hear her reason for abandoning me to the wolves like a coward. Grow the fuck up. Death happens daily in the life as a shinobi. Hiruzen nodded in agreement at Naruto's statement before turning his head when the door opened, and suddenly Hanabi walked in, much to his shock and Naruto's exasperation, wearing a light gray skin-tight leotard that only covered near her inner thigh and was extremely tight around her chest, stomach, his, butt and crotch area. Over her chest she wore black armor with the Hyuga symbol on the right breastplate, with a single pauldron colored a light gray on her left shoulder, a light blue scouter on her right eye, her headband tied around her arm. She had 2 white boots and gloves, making her look like a real, with that light gray tail wrapped around her waist. Of course, her DD cup borderline mid-E cups looked more pronounced. King Naruto, we have a problem. Kushina-sama did something stupid again. Naruto facepalmed, as did Hiruzen and several of the Anbu in the shadows. Ever since they got from the meeting a week ago, the redhead bloody habanero had been causing a massive worldwide pranks and property damage under the pretense of training to skin a snake. Naruto felt Kushina did something really stupid now if the stack of paper in her hands were any indication. Hanabi just told me what she did. I am just about done being surprised. Hanabi looked nervous and cleared her throat as Naruto went to drink some sake. Kushina-sama started up a porn industry in your honor, King Naruto. She dropped the bomb. Naruto's eyes bulged and sprayed water from his mouth and nostrils. Hiruzen got a nosebleed and choked on the ashes that went too far up the lungs and hacked and coughed. The female Anbu and Kunoichi went red in the face and got a bit wet. The male Anbu and Shinobi passed out with nosebleeds and wide grins. Kushina-chan did what Naruto's roar shook the entire village of Konoha, his scream showing how pissed he was. With Kushina at a big warehouse built behind the Uzumaki Namikaze compound, workers walking around in skimpy thongs, bras, panties, you name it, were also typing rapidly on computers and were on phones with others. Kushina was giggling pervertedly in a meeting with a giggling Yurei Sasaki, Blaze, who was wearing a formal yet skimpy red gold trimmed kimono with the same color stockings, makeup and lipstick and heels with a sweat dropping, wondering if Kushi-chan knew that Naruto was going to be told by Hanabi. Naruto-sama is going to be shocked at how many female fans he's going to get. Yurei giggled serenely with a perverted leer. Blaze twirled a lock of her red gold-streaked curtain-length hair currently tied in a ponytail with black lipstick and red makeup and eyeliner and mascara. "Why am I here, mother?" Yurei grinned forebodingly at her, sending a shiver down her spine. "It's to get you hitched with Naruto-sama, of course." Blaze's cheeks flamed red as her hair did in arousal and embarrassment. Inwardly she was jumping for joy. She was hoping to confess to him in secret, but the betrothal contract was more easier. Although one thought confused Blaze about Naruto, from what she observed further of him, he seemed to be somewhat emotionally detached in the presence of most of the people in Konoha, with a group exception. He loathes the civilian council with his being. Not that I would blame him considering what kind of crap they put him through as a kid. It's as if they don't understand Fuinjutsu. She had a suspicion as to why she was sure there was one other master besides Minato Namikaze, Kushina Uzumaki and Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Senju son Uchiha. Suddenly it clicked. She let out an angry growl, gaining Kushina and Yurei's attention. "Blaze-chan, what is it?" Kushina frowned in concern, seeing the young Hijin princess shake her head with a few calming breaths. "Kushina-sama. About Naruto-kun's treatment as a child. How could the civilians not know anything about Fuinjutsu? I am not defending them if that's what you're thinking, but don't you think it's strange how Fuinjutsu was removed from the academy? Naruto did some investigating and found out that Genma Satom, Sound Tendo, had pushed laws with Tadaaki Kuno, trying to enforce the laws to not teach a useless art in their eyes. The thing is someone called a Irajamag." Kushina's eyes narrowed sharply, and suddenly she let out a roar of feral rage, eyes turning a deep turquoise with a slitted pupil, followed by an aura of golden red tinged kai like a flame. Her hair instantly spiked up with a fringe over her left eye. "Hey Kushina-chan." Yurei watched wide-eyed at the power that felt like a human form in front of her and Blaze. "Damn you fucking bastard Jiraiya team, I knew you were fucking demented when Minato told me you were told of some stupid prophecy, damn it." Kushina cursed and shouted, pounding her fists rapidly into the wall behind her, causing the whole warehouse to shake and shudder, spiderweb crack spreading. "Calm yourself Kushina-chan." A cold voice said from the doorway, yet the power was even more powerful and dangerous than Kushina's. They turned only to see Naruto's hair streaked with neon pale green, and his eyebrows were gone with a deep dark cold serious demeanor, and had his hair spicier than his back. "Naruto-kun?" Kushina asked confusingly, having not sensed him entering. "Don't worry about the Gama-sen leaving him to me. I find it strange how even my godmother Tsunade Senju left without even taking care of me, just because this village took everything from her." The Saiyan rolled his eyes, getting an amused chortle from Kushina, who had to say she and Naruto lost more than Tsunade, who was being a whiny 12-year-old about how everything in her life was everyone's fault. "Jai-chan might have to find a new spymaster after I get through with him." Naruto's tone turned from calm and kind to sinister, making Kushina's spiky hair stand up on end, feeling her danger instincts flare up wildly, only to see his smirk directed at her. "Ha ha ha, I can't believe you fell for that trick Kushi-chan, ha ha ha." Kushina's face looked comical. She turned to see Yurei laughing herself silly, as did Blaze. "WWW, what the hell was that?" She slapped a hand over her mouth at her verbal tick, making them laugh and chuckle harder, getting a pout before blinking when the sounds of female whoops, moans and roars echoed from the main hallway. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the sight of Blaze, Yurei and Kushina's blushes. "What is going on out there?" Kushina blanched when he stood up to walk out and teleported in front of him with a nervous grin, making him suspicious. Nothing Naruto-kun, just the employees." "Well, all the female ones letting off some steam." "Like who for example?" She shivered hearing his voice turn very silkily and imperiously, making her sweat. Just it's most of the girls from Shigekure no Sado, Hidden Death Village, and Soryu no Sado, Hidden Soul Dragon Village. Besides, you were busy nowadays with preparing your students for the exams. Besides, I know you Naruto-kun, you have to revive the Saiyan race, since Vegeta is a one-woman guy as is Goku, Gohan and Goten and Trunks eventually. Besides, I'm sure you just love to have one of your employees underneath you, pounding till they break in delirious pleas and carnal desire." Kushina whispered seductively into his ear, her tail swishing tauntingly behind her, making him growl fiercely under his breath, his eyes dilating a bit as his instincts attempted to control him before he grunted, bringing his self-control back, and pushed her hands from his waist, gently confusing them. "I need some time to myself, I'm going to take a walk, I'm starting to feel like I'm a slave to my instincts." He muttered bitterly as he began to feel a pattern. Every girl he's been with, he hasn't tried to be romantic with them, just suave seductive words, with the sex being rabid lust, and he hated himself for falling to his own instincts. It was infuriating. Naru Kushina watched sadly as he vanished into a swirling vortex, leaving the room quiet. Blaze walked out, leaving to go after him and comfort him. She knew what he was feeling, but she felt he shouldn't beat himself over it. "With Naruto, how could I be such an animal? I am supposed to be a shinobi, a killer and a soldier, and a king, Kami, damn it. Why do I feel the need to fucking mate with every female close to me? Why?" Naruto brooded arms, not realizing he was being followed or the people in the way. Hey you fucking bastard, you bumped into me. Naruto turned his head to block a fist aiming slowly at his face with a look of irritated anger. I am already in a bad mood, you weak little shit, go home and play in a fucking sand castle. He booted the cat suit wearing a moron in the stomach, sending him crashing through the fence beside him and the blonde girl. Hey, that was my brother, you asshole. The blonde-haired girl with green eyes complained only to get a cold stare along with the eyes turning blood red with 3 tomatoes, making her shiver, taking a step back from the clearly pissed off and irate teen. If you don't want to get a foot in your gut like that piece of trash in space, I suggest you get the fuck out of my way and get to stepping. He snapped, harshly glaring at the quivering blonde-haired girl who felt like she was 2 inches tall. Oh okay. He grunted, feeling ire raise when felt some people he didn't want to even talk with right now. Can I help you, Karasuba, Mia, Yum? He mumbled in disinterest, still brooding, getting a frown from the Yuzu unit. Why is your aura pitch black with tints of ruby red? He groaned in annoyance, knowing Yum knew how to read auras, regardless of his mastered skill in hiding his presence. I do not feel like conversing right now. I am in a bad mood as it is. Karasuba raised an eyebrow at his irritated grunt and wondered if there was something he wasn't telling them. Would this happen to do with the fact you have put off mating with Kushi-chan for over a week and a half, Naruto-kun? He stiffened when Mito's chakra signature had just appeared on his senses and frowned deeply at the concerned Uzukage. I do not like being distracted so much, this is a disgrace. He scolded himself and looked away from Mito's imperious gaze. It is nothing, Uzukage-sama. I am just having time to myself now, if you'll excuse me. I have to meet with Kurenai-san and her students. Well, my students as well, since the situation with the little bastard Kiba has no name back on the wave mission and it seems her and Asuma-kun aren't really in a relationship, more of a sibling kinda thing, so basically it's 2 teams in 1. Naruto's dry voice made him look even more unfriendly. Hey bastard, what the fuck did you kick me in the stomach for? The male voice roared at the female, this time much to the raising of Naruto's eyebrow, and rolled his visible eye at Yum, Mia, and Mito's stern cross glare. Oh please, you can stop with the fucking stern looks. I have given up being a child years ago because of this village, and the reason why I booted your ass into that fence, because you are annoying sand brat. He scoffed, earning an exasperated look from Mito and Mia. Yep, just like Madara-kun, always the strong-willed and sarcastic one. They thought dryly, and the female stalked out showing beautiful black eyes, purple warpant and a ripped-up puppeteer's suit. Oh, it's you, Kanka, Tamari didn't notice you there for a second. He deadpanned uncaringly, making them fault with anime tears at Naruto-kun being so cruel and uncaring. Naruto-kun is so cruel. Kanka cried with anime tears, making it humorous enough for Karasuba to snicker. Am I to guess Gaia-chan is here as well? Everyone raised an eyebrow at his dry, exasperated voice and looked up, seeing why. Aya Sabaku was snuggling into his neck, purring while grinding her hips on his muscular clothed back, wearing what would amount to a cheerleader's costume, same one Kurumu wore in Rosario Vampire, Nuff said, and the skirt briefly flew up showing blue flower printed with Naruto's clan symbol on it. Aya-chan, what are you doing? He groaned, feeling her F-cup lobes pressing into his back, and grunted in slight annoyance. Shukaku Akasama wishes to mate. Everyone saw Naruto's eyes close with a groan when she crossed one of her sandaled feet around his waist, lewdly rubbing at his crotch. Aya-chan, enough. He growled, showing his fangs and now silver moon-wide eyes. Aya looked at him and nodded, backing off innocently. Me and Akasama see you're in a bad mood, just be sure to come see us during the exams in the Forest of Death. His eye twitched rapidly, feeling the need to blow something to pieces. Whatever. He scowled, stalking past Gaia and feeling thoroughly annoyed just as Tamari and Kanka rounded on their little sister. What the hell was that guy Yamato? I was merely staking my claim on him as I hold more power and sexiness, of course. Gaia said condescendingly to her 2 older siblings, making them give her a gimlet eye, much to the amusement of Karasuba. Shukaku Akasama demands I mate, or her heat cycle will make me go out of control. The 2 ignored her calling Shukaku mother, since it seemed the Asabi was actually a sand priestess, and hid her gender because of how biased men were towards females. I don't think Naruto-kun would be interested in mating right now. Everyone turned to see Kushina, Blaze, Yurei, Ami, Hanabi and Toki walking into view with sad smiles. Why? Guy raised an eyebrow in curiosity. Kushina took a deep breath and slowly explained to everyone the reasons why Naruto's mood is sour and depressed. Everyone was stunned, yet they all had understanding and sad smiles. Naruto was such a gentleman to them, yet so confused. He's such a golden-hearted ice prince, but I can see why his mind is conflicted right now. Mito murmured thoughtfully. She had been furious that her former husband's village did such physical, emotional and psychological damage to such an understanding child, forcing him to grow up so strong too early. Mito-sama, Kushina-sama, the spies have information Sanadi-san plans on stopping in Konoha upon hearing rumors of Naruto-kun having a marriage contract with the heiresses from the Western Empire. There's also talks of even Ragna the Blood Edge expressing her interest in him as well. Moo, so much competition for Naru-kun. A red-haired busty woman called Matsu, the spy master of Yuzushi Agakure no Sado, pouted with a wine Yuzu's mind eye for being able to have a bloodline that allowed her senses to see over vast distances, to pick out those with bad or evil intentions, and also gather all information from Yuzu's powerful satellite technology in orbit. Kushina gaped comically, you mean Ragna the Blood Edge, someone who handed Tsunade Senju her ass on a silver platter as a teen is showing interest in Naru-kun. Matsu nodded, seriously stumping several of those who heard of the infamous Blood Edge's rep over in the west. That's not all. Everyone stared worriedly when they saw Matsu start to shake and stutter with a pale sunken face and eyes of fright and hysterics. Guess who else it is, to show interest in Naruto-sama. Kurasuba took the scroll from a near catatonic Matsu, reading it laser-like fast, and even the half-sanest fighter of the Sekirei unit trembled with even paler skin. And no anyone but her. She whimpered fearfully and slowly the realization dawned on the whole Sekirei unit's face, and even Mia stopped smiling and shook with fear. Guys, come on, you're scaring us here. Ami laughed nervously and shakily. Naruto-sama has gained the romantic and sexual interest of Rachel. Alucard. Empress of the West Empire. Mito's face suddenly looked like it was made of stone, Kushina's eyes flickered between red and purple wildly, Toki and the others stiffened up like a board of wood. Why? Hanabi stuttered in fear and utter hysterics, looking stuck between curling into a bowl or crying in hysterical laughter. The Gaiodono's rival. Mito muttered darkly, making Kushina swallow thickly. And I am guessing she focused on Naruto because his power eclipses hers, right? Mia calmed down a slight bit, earning a nod from Mito. Mito-sama also says here the Empress and her chosen entourage for the exams will be here in less than 4 days' time. Matsu paled bleach white with squeak hands shaking holding the scroll. Closed her eyes. It means Naruto-kun will need to refocus on mastering his ancestors' abilities. Plus he did say he still had to master the power of a Super Saiyan as he hasn't unlocked the 4th transformation, and Goku-san and Vegeta-san said Super Saiyan God sounds like he has to have no doubt in his heart. She said thoughtfully. Kushina and Makoto nodded in agreement. Naruto-kun learned that he has to control the incoherent rage of his ape form. But. Kushina bit her lip with worry, Makoto sighed, rubbing her best friend's and co-wife's arm soothingly. Naruto's ape form is the manifestation of all the hate, malice, bloodlust and disdain for all those who tormented him, and he told me that the only way he would delve into that form is when he wants to utterly kill someone. He's got a moderate form of control in his Eru form, but the longer he stays in it, the more likely his hatred will make him more vicious and blood-crossed. Makoto blinked at that, suddenly remembering something, and got an uneasy look on her face. Kushi-chan, I think Vegeta-san just kidnapped our mate, he's joined by Goku as well. Everyone's eyes bulged at this. Why didn't you say so earlier? Kushina screeched in hysterics, Makoto sweat-dropped thinking Kushi-chan always did overreact on things. The Uchiha patriarch chuckled weakly. But Naruto, okay, what the fuck is this all about? Sensei Naruto scowled deeply, feeling as agitated as before. He didn't even get to give his students their slips for the exams. Vegeta looked Naruto up and down with a serious look. From what the raven-haired woman told us, Naruto's Azaru form represents all she hate and anger within him. This will make obtaining the next Super Saiyan state a lot harder if he can't control it. The Prince of all Saiyans frowned, still gazing at Naruto, looking at both him and Goku suspiciously. Naruto is. When you learn how to reach the next stage, I believe you know what that means. Goku's voice was stern yet sad. Naruto caught on immediately and flinched, his tail stiffening, and immediately flashed into his chakra mode with a glare of power. I am not becoming that beast again. The last time I went to Azaru from an unexpected full moon, I nearly killed Marahin and her sister and brother. I will not allow myself to become a mindless animal. Vegeta raised an eyebrow at Naruto's fear and bitterness. Forgive us, Naruto, but it is the only way to become SSJ4. Please know we wish you no ill harm, but this must be done to continue your training. Vegeta stated calmly and opened his palm. Naruto's eyes widened in fear as he watched in slow motion, a familiar white orb floating in his surrogate uncle's hand. Burst open and mix. Vegeta threw it above them, speeding hypersonic fast into the air of the planet where they were trained by Whis himself, after she revealed a shocking secret to the both of them and was here to watch Naruto's training as well. Naruto's body suddenly hunched over as he lost his chakra mode, sweating terribly. This pain was unimaginable. He smashed a fist into the ground, causing a compressed small crater underneath. He wasn't the invincible shinobi no Kami here. He wasn't the cold-hearted, emotionless multiple clan head and descendant of the Otsutsuki clan. He wasn't the powerful legendary super god potential being. He was just the same angry, scared, closed-off child. He didn't like it. He hated this pain. The voices in his head shouting at him to submit, obey, among other evil commands. Roar. His top ripped from the force of his slowly bulking up body, his face gained a snout and large feral sharp teeth. NGH. I won't let you control me, Goku, and Vegeta watched him shake his head left and right trying to resist the transformation. To think I'd see the day where someone so young, especially an elite, could resist the transformation to an Zero under the influence of the Blood's waves. Impressive yet futile. The prince shook his head as a roar of pain ripped from Naruto's maw. And began pounding his fists more and more, throwing debris and smoke everywhere. He bears such a powerful will and defiance in him, 1 in a billion this one is. A female alluring voice said cheerily, making a muscle jump in Vegeta's jaw. He hated overly cheery people and knew his rival Goku was snickering at him for his deeper scowl. Naruto breathed heavily, sweating all over, and blearily looked at his arms, only to look in horror as the ominous crimson-red fur started slowly sprouting from his skin, covering his whole body, followed by his arms, hands, face, chest and legs. The pain was worse than before. Naruto felt the creepy red haze creeping in his eyes with one thought. Kushi-chan. I'm sorry. He thought sadly in his mind before the red haze overtook him. Linkin Park paper cut. Roar. Their eyes widened as a massive shadow slowly grew in size and muscle. Standing before them was an ominous crimson-furred Zero with 9 monkey tails flicking behind it lazily, and when they looked at the rest of Naruto's Zero form, they were more than a bit apprehensive at how much bigger and more toned down muscular he looked than the overly bulky, nearly rot-under Zero warriors. Its eyes were closed, suddenly snapped open, showing crimson black ringed orbs. A crimson aura of energy like flames sprung from Naruto's body as he roared with such an intensity it made concussive waves ripping and cracking the ground everywhere, even causing the lakes of water to shake and ripple. The enraged Naruto focused blood-black ring-colored eyes at the object of its transformation with narrowed pupils, making Goku sweat drop. Vegeta, I think Naruto's pissed at us. The female figure snickered at a twitching Vegeta, who found most of Naruto's pissed glare on him, steam snorting from the crimson-furred Zero's maw and nostrils in rage and disdain. Much to their shock, the berserk Naruto suddenly blurred in with a static-like boom. What? That wasn't an afterimage. Goku shouted, his hair suddenly turning golden spiky blonde, lengthening till it hung at the back of his legs, along with his eyebrows vanishing. This was his SSJ-3 state, but it was radiating more power than ever. Vegeta transformed into a slightly more muscular state he used to fight Cell's second form, and when he was perfect Cell, it looked like one of the brat speed techniques he developed. Eyes open, Kakarot, whoa. Head snapping up, feeling the presence above him, he crossed his arms over each other, blocking Naruto's massive fist, and he briefly felt his arms go numb. This brat strength in his Zero form is unbelievably. Not even Nappa's Zero form made even a tiny itch back then. His movements are as fast as me in my Super Saiyan 4 state. Vegeta's arms budged against Naruto's ape fist, trying to keep from getting flattened. Pay attention, Naruto. Naruto grunted with a growl at the voice of Goku, only to reel back in discomfort from the two-handed hammer blow to his snout, retaliating with a fast-spinning reverse elbow. Goku couldn't avoid getting nailed hard in the gut, so bad he coughed up saliva before going spinning like an out-of-control torpedo, crashing into the lake. Boy, you will respect your elders, Vegeta roared, grabbing hold of Naruto's finger that was extended out and with a great amount of speed, ran down his fur-lined body, rapidly carrying his arm with him. With a leap and massive tug, Naruto could only roar in surprise and pain, meeting the ground harshly from being slammed by the finger. Before the rage-addled ape could try to move and retaliate, Vegeta slammed him again and again, over and over, gaining speed with each slam. Vegeta shouted, fly away. With a spin, the prince threw his surrogate nephew's ape form into the air high above and moved his arms back as his hands crackled with bright golden Kai, eyes narrowed in concentration and power. Beat this. Final flash. Naruto's head swiveled around in mid-air with wide crimson eyes and clenched his right fist that glowed with an ominous crimson-green lined light as the supercharged wide Kai beam was approaching fast, and shouted in a guttural deep voice. Super final shine attack. Vegeta's eyes widened in shock, surprise and alarm as the massive Kai beam overpowered his own at 45% of its power, even when using God Kai, and forced more power into it, enough to make both halt in the center. Brah. Vegeta's hair suddenly increased in length and spikiness, with some of it going over his shoulders, but not to the same extent as a SSJ-3. It turned pitch black with his eyebrows. His upper body, with the exception of his pectorals and chest, gained red fur, while his eyes gained a shadow trim around his eyelids and eyes colored crimson, with his body bulking up a bit more. His tail suddenly turned crimson as his fur and his power literally shot through the roof, and the Kai beam began pushing Naruto's back steadily as his rage was slowly being overwhelmed by his will. Naruto-kun, fight it, don't let the animal within you control you. A coughing Goku, who burst from the lake in his own SSJ-4 state, looked up in surprise to see Kushina, Mikoto and Naruto's other mates, all shedding tears, shouting at emotionless Naruto to wake up before he suddenly began roaring, beating his chest and started flinging mouth blasts everywhere, causing stuff to blow up hold his skull as if he was in agony. Naruto-kun, wake up please. Naruto suddenly crashed to the ground and jumped at Goku and Vegeta with an animalistic roar, aiming to smash the both who jumped back. Not being deterred in the slightest, he jumped at them, clashing fist and feet against the two gods. Accurate, he's gaining his intelligence back, but he's still in a berserker rage. He's not even reached his prime for a good long time, and he's making our fight with Shenron look like a schoolyard fight. Vegeta growled in irritation, getting an amused snigger from Goku, who blocked a blow from one of Naruto's fists and grinned widely. "Come on son, I know you're still in there, control your inner beast and become stronger." Goku shouted, spearing at high speeds into Naruto's stomach, earning a pained grimace. Kushina and the others desperately wanted to jump in and help Naruto, but they knew they'd only get in the way, and he'd feel guilty if they got hurt because of him. "Naruto-kun. Wake up please." Naruto's ape body suddenly froze when he switched to attacking Kushina, who gasped, putting her arms up only for his body to freeze again, shaking and shuddering. This time Naruto spoke in a mix of his human and ape voice, "KK Kushihaim." Kushina and the others froze and gazed up at the shaking red great ape, whose body began glowing with a golden light, his eyes focused on the moon above in the sky. "Excellent my son, you did it." Goku grinned, crossing his arms, wincing at the bruises from Naruto's hits in ape form, who knew a great ape could be as fast as a SSJ3. HMPH. About time brat. The others snickered at the prince's faux-miff tone and watched in mystified awe at the sight of the red ape, sparking with power all over, and slowly did he shrink down to size more and more, gaining the features of a human. "Oh my." The female voice belonged to a blue-skinned tall woman wearing a robe-like outfit and martial arts shoes with a scepter in one hand. She had white hair, cup breasts and violet lipstick, and light blue-colored eyes with black pupils, staring at the new form of Naruto. "Dragon Ball Z Budokai asked like a burning wind. Interesting." The earth rumbled suddenly from the sheer power in Naruto's voice, making even Vegeta and Goku shift back. Kushina gained a nosebleed at how low, authoritative, rumbling and deep it was, and so husky. And then Naruto-sama crimson eyes gleamed from the smoke. "Yes, it is me and I feel better than ever." The sound of footsteps echoing everywhere before a flare of power blew away every inch of the obscuring gas, showing the new Naruto. Kushina and the other females' nosebleeds got even worse, even who had a nosebleed exclaiming "oh my." Again at the sight of Naruto. His hair was now mane, just reaching down to the back of his ankles. Spiky as Vegeta and Goku combined together with Madara's ominous bangs covering his eyes partially. His eyes had the same shadow trem as Goku and Vegeta, while his eyes were colored crimson with slitted pupils and a black sclera. He now had the same ominous crimson fur as they did, while he had fangs jutting from the corner of his mouth, a more muscular body, and had sexy-looking black leather pants and white and red combat boots, and fingerless combat gloves, colored black with red pads on the palms, and a black leather duster, with the sleeves cut at the elbows showing off his arms. Cracking his neck side to side with an elated growl, he suddenly clenched his fist, suddenly glowing with a red aura, making the air shake itself from a shockwave. "It seems I'm already a full-power Super Saiyan 4. And I see." His grin looked even more demonic and feral, making Hanabi's pussy burn with need and lust. "But time Naruto, I'd thought me and Vegeta would have to go all out on you." Goku grinned upbeat, not seeing Naruto's left eye twitch dangerously in rapid succession, nor his fist clenching tightly. "Oh Goku O2, Vegeta OG." Both suddenly blinked at the dark sadistic tone before Goku suddenly went flying past who yelled cutely, smashing face first limply into a mountain. "That's for fucking going along with this half-assed plan in the first place." Vegeta snickered before to his indignation he got sent flying headfirst through several houses and skidding across the ground with a huge burn mark on his forehead. "And that's for bringing out that fucking moon, you bloody fucking dickshit." Naruto roared, shaking his steaming fist at both of his relatives menacingly, making it even more comical. "And song," Kushina sniggers, hearing their comical groans of pain getting smacked to the back of the head by an exasperated, "Must you really laugh at people that get hit by Naruto-kun?" The red habanero merely looked at her straight face. "Yes." Mikoto and Hinata faulted at the straight face answer, getting giggles from Whis. "Wait a second, Goku and Vegeta said they wiped out Beerus, so why are you here Whis, since you were his mentor?" Whis smiled in amusement at Naruto's narrowed gaze on her. "Oh my, should I be worried that such a powerful person is gazing at me so intensely?" At Naruto-sama. His eyes twitched hearing that teasing jibe. "By you not answering, I'm assuming your former student is still alive or in hiding, and the one Goku and Vegeta obliterated was a false." Whis' slightly widening eyes was all the confirmation Naruto needed. "What?" The ground cracked from a steaming pissed Vegeta appearing beside Naruto, his hair glowing red with his eyes being the same with his normal state, with Goku bearing the same. "That monster is still alive." Goku roared angrily, only getting a bored look from Whis, as if the two gods' anger was minuscule. "Oh please spare the heroics Vegeta. Goku, did you really think Lady Beerus wouldn't have a backup when face to face with two Super Saiyan gods?" Goku and Vegeta blinked in confusion. Naruto, who heard the lady honorific, slapped a hand over his mouth, trying not to laugh at the look of dawning realization on their faces. Do you think being a goddess of destruction is merely a fighting title? It is to maintain the world's balance. Lady Beerus is sorry for your loss Goku however, she is merely doing what someone of her station is meant to do. She however, didn't want to intentionally kill Kai-San, she was just unfortunate to be caught in a fight between Lady Beerus and yourself. Before creation comes destruction. I am sure you know this already Goku despite how much you say you defend the earth. Her eyes pierced through Goku deeply who flinched when he remembered the times he died. Your actions concerning your fights with your brother, Frieza and Cell say otherwise, especially when you intentionally let yourself die from the explosion on King Kai's planet just to make Gohan stronger, when you could have simply used your instant transmission to leave him in the darkness of space. Goku flinched back more violently clenching his fists, while Naruto closed his eyes shaking his head, knowing what he did was to give his son a chance to beat Cell. While he knew Goku had faith in his son Naruto didn't believe his figure had to sacrifice himself just to prevent the earth from exploding from Cell's cowardly suicide. While I think Goku O2 had his heart in the right place, I agree with you at how stupid those actions were, as he should have considered that option before. He glared at his father figure who flinched looking down feeling the guilt come crashing at him. Perhaps you should spend more time with your son Goku, as you have done enough to avoid bonding with your family due to your god status. Vegeta stated sternly to his rival who groaned miserably. Gohan and Goten don't need me interfering in their lives, nor does Pan. He looked down feeling ashamed of his actions that were for the greater good, practically leaving his sons alone without a father figure. Was I really that inconsiderate? Did those years of going on those adventures make me so reckless as to keep getting myself killed? He bit his lip in turmoil. Lady Beerus has expressed her wish to train someone like you Naruto-sama, as thanks to Goku's manipulation of your DNA, you hold the absolute potential to become a Super Saiyan god, much more earlier than Goku and Vegeta, you don't have to accept right now of course. I will be in your care since she is recovering still from the false body technique she used and wishes for me to give you some of my own training. Naruto looked surprised and grinned, well if you can train me harder than I can myself I welcome it, but just to be clear, I am not becoming a god of destruction when I achieve god form, as I don't do such a meaningless task. Wiz smirked widely at the blunt answer, good that just made him more interesting to not bow down to another, no matter who they are. Now then let's get you back to the Hokage's office, since I sense the black rabbit is in Konoha already. Naruto grimaced and nodded before everyone was teleported by Wiz herself away in a tower of blue light, leaving the world quiet. Hokage office. You mean to tell me the reason why my Naruto-kun hasn't visited me is because of me coming onto him? A blonde-haired girl with twin ponytails wearing a black dress and boots with an empress crown on the top with crimson scarlet slitted eyes that were glowing intensely with sadness and indignation at the fact her advances were curtained. I believe Naruto did this because he isn't fearing the commitment he has made. A hymn came on by the women from even the Amazon village, which is known for dragging unwilling men back to their villages to have their children by force, and he's been attacked approximately. Let me check the papers here. Hiruzen muttered for a second and shifted through the papers on his desk being calm in front of the woman who was Kaguya Otsutsuki's rival, according to Mito who was sitting beside him keeping a wary eye on the girl Rachel Alucard. Let's see here on yes he's been attacked and ambushed by at least 5 to 10 squads of Kunoichi Anbu and Hunter Nin from the Amazon village, trying to kidnap him and turn him into a breeding stud, add on to the fact you came onto him when he just busted and obliterated a prostitute ring, where he arrived too late, he has become increasingly paranoid to where he's had his eternal Mangekyo on 24/7 and nearly took the head off of a couple of now mentally scarred Anbu captains for shining in on him trying to relax. Need I say more about how he is feeling Alucard Dono? Hiruzen informed with a sarcastic drawl getting agape looks at this revelation. Oh my, now I see why Naruto-kun felt so guilty for just having sex with his mates 24/7. He felt like he was using them for nothing but pleasure. Such a gold-hearted man yet still so young and troubled. No thanks to this ungrateful village. Mito muttered bitterly and sourly, getting a sympathetic look from Rachel. Believe me Uzukage-san when my spies informed me of what a certain disgusting toad did to Naruto-kun, I was half tempted to come here and tear the village apart to kill the pathetic ninja myself alone. Rachel's venomous cold smile sent chills up Hiruzen's spine. Not if Naruto-kun gets his hands on him first as despite you having creative ideas for torture and killing, Naruto truly knows how to make someone wish they were dead with just a time frame of 10 hours, he knows ways to even make the strongest-willed and hard-headed females go mad and yearn for his touch, the Kunoichi spies can attest to that. All 50 of them. Rachel's eyes including her bodyguards Ragna the Blood Edge and Jin Kisaragi and Makoto Nanaya widened to near size of dinner plates at this information. Ragna herself recovered and folded her arms with an interested fanged smirk, and did Rabbit-chan tell me that Miss Pissy implants will be arriving just because she heard of the West delegates coming to the Chunin exams. Especially me, the one who handed her ass to her on a silver platter and didn't even have to use blood scythe to kick the Toad Sage's ass when I was weakened. Ragna stated boredly while looking at her nails nonchalantly, making Hiruzen sweat drop, knowing Ragna and Naruto would get along just fine and dandy. Boy. Who's the hot eye arm wrestling the Anbu outside the door? Yuki Terumi commented in slight interest with a smirk on her face, looking outside the door, gaining everyone's attention. Hey, it's Naruto-senpai-kun out there. Bare-chested OMG. Platinum squealed, making the others sweat drop big, even Rachel. That is one major fangirl, yet seeing him is enough to make her want to jump his bone. Yuki's eyebrow twitched in irritation, as did Ragna's, seeing the big-titted loli was towing the fucking line. You're towing that line, loli gaki. Platinum growled at the scowling Ragna and Yuki, HMPH. I've been wanting to meet Naruto-senpai-kun and I will do so, and you two won't stop me. Yuki grinned darkly and Ragna smirked maliciously, eyes flashing with the intent to kick Platinum's ass, who eeped when she saw the two strongest females in the West, aside from Makoto, Kokono, Rachel and Lichi, leering at her maliciously. Come on brat, this won't even take a second. A bare-chested muscular Jounin boasted arrogantly, facing an equally bare-chested Naruto, who found out how to recede the fur from his body, leaving his younger yet more muscular and toned frame in full view, smirking confidently. Man, oh man, you jackasses still sore when I seduced your girlfriends and wives. Oh, that is so fucking rich I could cry. Naruto drew sarcastically, getting a pissed glare from the muscular no-name and several others, remembering why this little shit was on their list. No one takes my Tsubaki-chan from me and lives to tell about it, come on fucker. The man snarled, slamming his elbow confidently on the sturdy desk with a threatening face that could maybe frighten a little child. Very well, I'll oblige you. Naruto did the same, causing a wide crack in the chakra wood, getting a nervous glance from the crowd who bet on Naruto losing, so they could prove he wasn't all hot shit the Kunoichi and others made the demon brat out to be. Wow. Such a muscular toned frame. Makoto licked her lips lustfully, staring shamelessly at Naruto's bare-chested body, the way his biceps and pectorals flexed with a simple movement, no unneeded fat at all. Pure muscle. Yum. Alright, relax my youthful friends. Leah started not liking the way these pig-headed youthful men leered at her instead of Naruto-kun doing it. Placing her hand on top of their clenched together fists. Ready? Naruto looked bored while his opponent looked confident, reaching up into overconfidence. Go. As soon as Leah shouted, the black-haired man known as Kimura roared, aiming to slam the gaki's fist down hard. How boring, heave-ho. Kimura went flying through the window when Naruto lightly pinned his hand with such force he went flying when he let go, making them gape. Oro? Naruto blinked confusingly, looking down at his hand, then at the window in confusion, while inwardly he was laughing his ever-hot ass off at how funny it was sending Kimura flying. Next, are you a chicken shit pansy just like Kimura-kun? Naruto's eyes narrowed mockingly at the reddish-brown-haired man gaping at him. Aoki's eyes narrowed back sharply and leered, pulling up his sleeve showing his more muscled arm. Come on, the crowd whistled and muttered amongst themselves, watching Aoki clench fists with Naruto, who merely smirked maliciously, making Yuki, Ragna and Rachel raise an eyebrow. Hiruzen shook his head thinking. Aoki-kun, you just made a big mistake trying to challenge Naruto of all people in a test of physical strength. The old sandame shook his head in bemusement at the fools, trying to regain their masculine pride and honor. Ready? Aoki smirked. I'll pin him in a second. Big mistake, dipshit. Naruto deadpanned in his mind but smirked lazily. Go. Oriaaaaa. Aoki roared, trying to pin Naruto instantly, only for said shinobi to pin his hand lightly the opposite direction, causing his arm to suffer. Hop. Aoki was sweating with snot from his nose. Ah. He stared horrified at his shoulder while Naruto snickered darkly in amusement, especially Yuki and Ragna and Rachel, as Aoki whimpered and hopped away. Now then, who else wants a piece of the king? Naruto grinned fiercely, waving his gloved hands in a come-on motion slowly and mockingly. At the sidelines, Kushina and his girls wore skimpy, revealing black and red cheerleader outfits, arms around their shoulders, and tap dancing. Naruto-sama is the best. Super Saiyan 4 stud. No one can compare. All shall fall before his awesomeness. The men will weep. The girls will cheer. The ladies will cream all in their panties. Before Narutosame. Kushina and the others cheered in unison, bending over, giving Naruto a taunting view of their panty-clad pussies, shaking their asses much to his bemusement, while Rachel's eyes glinted with mirth. Ragna scowled, as did Yuki. Alright, cough up the dough or else. Well, I'll visit your wives, daughters and nieces later. The man whimpered at that and handed over all the money to them. Well, if it isn't Shinkuseru-kun. Naruto closed his eyes with a sigh, putting his black duster back on, and turned around and faced a smiling Rachel. Hello fiancé, what is that you want? Didn't Jai-chan tell you the reason why I hardly even think of approaching your borders? I may be a hot-blooded teen, but I don't enjoy being chazzed by such feminist women just to turn me into a breeding stud. I warned them many times that it wouldn't take much of my power to reduce them and their village to a complete crater, but no one listens. I am just tired and particularly don't feel like having to deal with such troublesome situations. He groaned tiredly, rubbing his face only to stop, feeling Rachel's hands on his and looked into her scarlet eyes filled with softness and understanding. I understand, Saru-kun. Would you like to start over then? My name's Rachel Alucard. Naruto stared at her open hand and then her and smiled with a nod. My name's Naruto Uzumaki Senju Uchiha Sanatsutsuki. Pleasure to meet you, Rachel-chan. Mito smiled at the sight and saw Kushina was smiling as well. There's the first step, Naruto-kun. Unknown to Naruto, in his mind, a shattered mirror representing his stability slowly started being pieced back together, glowing with power, leaving a feeling of content and happiness. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoy it. Turn on that bell notification. Like, subscribe and comment down below. And also check out the others videos I have created and enjoyed it. See you guys next video.